Yes, this is the show that we spoke of last night, and as promised, it's here. I just want to say that this is not the typical Passport Brothers nan and nan type show. I want to intelligently break down not only what's happening now, but the conditions that brought it to pass. Because if we didn't have situations before this, if it wasn't the perfect storm before this, we wouldn't have this type of, how can I put it, confrontational, am I out of words? Is this the first time I'm out of words on the show? We wouldn't have this type of confrontational happenings if we didn't have a problem from before. Gifty Sine, welcome on in. Greetings, my dear sister. That wrench looks good on you. I jotted down a few things that I wanted to read on, but I'm not going to just start out right now. Kind of like a guideline to make sure I don't miss on any points. Giant gain in the house. That wrench looks good on you too. And I think there's another wrench or two I have to put out there. So it's almost like when you go to the store, Walmart, Target, wherever, local supermarket, and you have a shopping list. So I have a shopping list of points that I want to bring up, but I'm going to shoot from the hip with this one pretty much. But I do want to make sure it's thorough because there will be people who come on afterward and they're going to want to argue on a point that I missed out on, purposely misunderstanding the general purpose of the show, right? So I do want to read off a paragraph or two. Don't think I'm just reading stuff off the whole show. This is not a class. I'm going to freestyle it. I'm going to rev up and go crazy in it. We're going to make it fun. And hopefully Brother Debo's can come on in. If you're out there, I don't know if I have to get a Debo's kind of projection lamp like they did, Commissioner Gordon did in Batman, and when they had the bat in the sky on the clouds and Bruce Wayne looked at it from far away and he came out the mountains, you know, boom, boom, boom. So Debo's come on in because he is someone who many would consider a passport brother, but I don't think he went out on purpose with a passport in search of. It's something that happened. And it's brothers like that who can intelligently break things down that probably would get a lot of flack. And when I say Black American women, number one, let's get this straight. And I'm saying this straight up because there's going to be somebody that doesn't hear me say this and come in the comment section and get mad and say all kind of stuff. Look, if you understood where I'm coming from, you had a problem with it, fine. But if you come and you're not prepared, I'm deleting you. I'm blocking you. If you can't respect not just my point of view, you don't have to like it, but you better respect the work that I put in on this show to set this bad boy up just for you to come in and gab in there. King Hayes, the only Hayes YouTube channel. Welcome, welcome. Yes. Well, you know what? This is a new channel, King Hazy. That channel was taken down, but the content is still there, but they don't let you get to it. That's a big conspiracy right there, right? From your side, you won't see it. From my side, I'll see that the videos were made private. And I'll speak about those things every now and then. But yes, I'm going to say this to my Black American sisters, African American, African, whatever you want to call it, melanated, whether you're FBA or ADOS or indigenous, whatever, you know what, damn it. The whole planet is melanated. Yes, we're going to steamroll giant gang. Yes, we are. My voice is a little hoarse because it has not recuperated. I went to bed so late last night, jumped up from 6 o'clock and been talking all day long. So it may not be a 4-hour show tonight. So I got to be careful with my voice because, you know, we're going to put it down. And we're making lots of progress over here. Many will be very happy with the progress. A little more time, you know. Yeah, exactly. They did that to me, man. But you know what? You know, come on. It's like this. The whole time and all those years that I did YouTube videos. Debo's! Wait, let me get this. It's on and popping. You're going to love it. Let me tell you something. Let me get this link. I just want to say a few things and we're going to chop this bad boy up. Oh man, people were telling me about the show last night. They just never leave a comment. You know, when people can see it, they'll text me, you know, because my number's out there. And let me just, like I said, this is not an attack on black women. There may be women of other races who have a problem with people that they dub to be passport brothers. I don't know about that. I want to speak about what's going on in the black community and the psyche of the black woman, not to attack her, but to break down why we have this, like this, these conditions. All right? You all who are present heard me say that. So if you see a comment, you know, and I deal with them, I deal with them. Lakewood means rewind, the gunshot means forward. You requested it, so weave around. In recent years, a growing number of American men, particularly black men, have been seeking love outside of the United States, dubbed passport brothers. These men are disillusioned by the attitudes of American women, who they feel have become overtly independent and self-sufficient due to their careers and financial success. This perceived lack of a need for a man, coupled with a shift away from the traditional norms. Okay, there you go, brother. I'm gonna let you right on in. I just want to read this thing here off. The traditional norms has led these men to explore romantic opportunities in the Caribbean, South America, Philippines, and beyond. Tonight, we delve into the reasons behind this trend and explore the pros and cons of becoming a passport brother. Why American men are looking abroad. Many American men feel that modern women, especially in the United States, no longer value traditional gender roles. These men believe that American women empowered by their financial independence do not prioritize or respect their partners in the same way as women in other cultures. So, in contrast, women from certain foreign countries are often raised with the belief that they should support and respect their partners, creating a dynamic that some American men find more appealing. This has led to an increasing number of men obtaining passports and traveling abroad to seek relationships where they feel more valued and respected. That's all I'm going to say. I do have a list of points. I'm not reading them off. It just reminds me, like the double yellow line, if you go over that bad boy, you're going to get a head-on collision. Now, I want to knock something else out before we get into this discussion. There are many so-called fraudulent passport brothers that do not fit the description of someone who may feel slighted or disrespected and may say to themselves, well, I'm going to go abroad to maybe find someone who may have more traditional values. There are a lot of men that are going over there to different countries all over the world because they think they can get easy sex. We're not dealing with those brothers. We're dealing with the real ones that go and look for love abroad. Not the horny little goats who say, oh, you can go down to the Dominican Republic, man, and hang out and come back with AIDS. I'm not saying women there have it. It's all over the world. I'm not dealing with those. I'm not defending those types. So for the women that may come at me and say, yeah, all y'all want to do is just go on over there and get laid and have all this free sex that you can't get from us because you ain't on our level. We're not condoning that. I don't condone that. The only way I would condone it is to say, well, if the man's single and he wants to do that, go ahead and do it and put your life at risk, raw dogging it all over these places, right? But don't call yourself an honest passport brother, which that's a loose term. It could, it's not an official thing. Some guys can say it and we don't know the contents of somebody's heart. They can say, I'm upstanding and look, they lie in America. Hey, sweetheart, you know I love you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to commit to you. It's going to be me and you. Yeah, I know I had a lot of girlfriends, but no, you're it. It's more than just the physical. It's something about you on the inside, your essence, your heart, your mind. I can get old with you. We're young enough. We can have a couple of babies together, and we're going to make this thing work. You and I together. And he ain't no passport brother. So the passport brothers usually catch flack for the dudes, even in America, who broke their heart and messed their mind up. Brother D-Bose or Bose the expat, you're in, and I want you to pretty much, as much as you can. He fell off the line, so hopefully he'll come back. I want him to explain who he is, his positioning, and many women would say that, oh, he's a passport brother because he's out of the country and he's married to a woman who is a foreigner and who may not be black. So he fell off. I know he'll be back on. Maybe he had to go and do something. But I want to say a few things before he comes back in. But I want him to really explain his position because as far as I know and what I understand, he went abroad and fell in love and things happen. Listen, why can't that happen for anybody? Why should it be driven by a get-back mentality? So when these men, the real passport brothers, who may have had bad experiences with American women, say, listen, the world is big. The world is ours. See, this thing couldn't have happened if we didn't have the feminist movement, if we didn't have the clapping down on black families, especially with the whole welfare thing where they come in your house, the social worker, and they're looking for men's shoes, men's clothes, extra toothbrushes, men's underwear, anything, or some Negro in the bed. Who is he? He's not supposed to be here. And you got to lie and say it's your brother who spent the night because he was too drunk to drive home. There were more marriages early on. And when that time came in the 60s and the civil rights movement and more heroin and more, we were under attack because the women from that era before the feminist movement got to the minds of black women who were duped by the white women who made them feel like, yes, this is our fight, but they were only using you to pad your numbers, and the government was using them to have you go against your man. The child support. I don't need nobody, but you're getting that money when you get the child support. And that governmental daddy of yours will take care of you as long as you distance yourself from the black man or the potential of having a black man. No, you can get WIC, you can get Section 8, you can get welfare, you can get the free health care. Now, I have to say that there are people who need it. There are black women who need it. There are people of all races who need it. Right? I never considered myself a passport bro, because if that's the case, even before I had a passport, it was look, for me personally, with a Jamaican father and a mother from America, I never looked at women from the Caribbean as anything different. And the way I was raised was an expanded mind that we're all one. Remember the time I grew up in, born in 63, and I knew more about civil rights and racism, even from single-digit ages, as they explained it to me. So my father had lots of Jamaican friends and people of all races in actuality. So really, I can't say absolute that one race is all this and all that, even though they have a propensity to be devils, just like we do against each other, because we get so intoxicated with being near the one who made us feel that they are supreme, that when we get into position in their corporations, and it's by design, because when these corporations hire a black woman, they get 2 strikes on the book. They get a black woman and they get a woman. They get a 2-for-1. So now they're filling a quota, and it's easier to get there. And so now you have your degrees, which I applaud you for that. And black men have degrees too. But we have it a little harder. And I'm not crying victim. It is a little tougher when the system works against you. But like I said, That's a call to action, because I know I'm a champion. Call me a narcissist if you want. Don't get mad because I'm confident. Don't get mad that when I take a fall and YouTube takes all your videos and channel, that I'm not sitting here crazy. I'm coming back stronger because I'm the one that did it in the first place. And if I beat 50 opponents and one knocked me down and got the decision, well, guess what? I'm coming back for that one, and we're going to continue in what we do and correct it and move on. Ain't nothing killing my enthusiasm. But see, in the modern day, and we say the modern day woman, see, you had women who had careers way back, even though we all struggled to go a little higher. Aside from those of us who are downtrodden and caught up in the foot of the system crushing our neck, there are many of us who have gone on to earn money and do well. But see, it becomes something of a primping mechanism. Well, I got mine. Have you not forgotten that as good as you may be with your degrees and everything, that thing is set up for you to be there? And it's set up for you to not honor and respect a man who may make less than you? And we couldn't have it this way unless many of these types of women, mind you, I said many, I didn't say all, right? Okay, yeah, I'm going to define that, right? I didn't say all, but many have come from stressed, broken homes where there was trauma. And their first example of black manhood may not have been something that was up to par, right? So let's speak on, for the purpose of the show, how we define a passport bro. And after this, I want Brother Bose, the expat, to come on in, and you can explain what it is for you, brother. But I would define it, and this is coming off the hip, again, not the dudes looking for sex and just want to use that to just get laid. No, not that. But a brother, and we're speaking about black men, and you can have other passport bros of other races. We were zeroing in on this one. A brother who feels that he cannot deal with the uphill battle of the attitudes in general, because we know it's not all black American women. I have to say that again. But those who are, who see dollars and cents, and if you're not where they are as far as the money's concerned, you're not good enough for me. So you have these attitudes that come, and it's not from success that makes you that way. Success brings you to a place where you're lighter than you ever been. You have time to reflect and look within. But these resentments didn't come from your success in the corporate world or an entrepreneur or whatever way you came into your money from, you making an effort, not hitting the lottery, right? These resentments were pre-existing, right? And now you have a chance to feel empowered because you did it on your own. Now you want to come back at black men and set this standard instead of respecting him and seeing yourself also as a helpmate, as he should be one to you. And these brothers can't find that. They can't find the traditional woman who wants marriage, who wants a family. So if you can't find it, and you got to deal with all of this toxicity and trauma that you hide behind the mask of success, then these brothers say, you know what? It's not like he's giving up on you. He grew up in the country. There's nobody more matched to the black American man than you. But after a while, when you can't find what you want to find, when you're in a department store looking for a certain type of underwear, a certain type of gym gear, then you say, oh, well, I guess it's not here for me. Let me go on down the block and shop at the next store. And that's what they do. That's all. They don't hate you. But they're tired of that. And you're the one with the biological clock. And he's the one tired of it. And maybe you don't want children. But now, if he's so bad and no good and doesn't have a six-figure income, why are you mad that he leaves? I mean, if I threw a party and I invited a bunch of people and one person came to my house and he didn't wash for 3 days, well, why am I mad that he left? Because he was stinking. He was undesirable to have at the party. He messed up everybody's nostrils. So this man knows that he is worthy. He knows that he is worthy of love because he wants to give love, and he wants a traditional relationship where he comes home and respected as he respects. But for some reason, his respect and love is not good enough for you. Because a lot of y'all, and again, it's not everybody, but a lot of y'all really are coming back at your deadbeat daddy when you see that man who is good, but now he's a man, he's interested in you, and now you want to tee off on him because that father that you may have had, this is not everybody, it's not every black woman, but this is what I see. Can't prove it statistically. I didn't look at statistics. We're having a deep conversation. But the resentment didn't come from that man who didn't make a six-figure income, but he wants traditional marriage, but maybe you saw an example of trauma and toxicity and dysfunction at home, and a traditional marriage scares you because you saw how your mama suffered. Rose the expat. Come on in, brother. Talk to me.
Brother Lance, have you forgotten that once we were brought here, we were robbed of our names, robbed our religions. We lost our religion, our culture, our God, and many of us, by the way we act,
we even
lost our minds.
Okay, before you start, brother, there's someone whose comment. Here it is. Okay, but we're gonna get on with the show. I don't know if I'm messing up your name, Raisa, right? Raisa says, Lance, you can't proclaim your respect for your sisters and simultaneously give Passport Bros a platform. Plenty of podcasts has dealt with this subject last year. I'm gonna ask you something. Mm-hmm. I'm LanceScurv. I'm not Lance Plenty of Podcasters. And I dealt with this topic before in 2 episodes, but it's been snatched away by the YouTube posse. So we just defined what Passport Brothers were. And in the chat room, and eventually, if you want to come in, we're not going to beat up on nobody and argue and yell and scream. This is going to be a very intelligent situation, and I like to go in with surgical precision. And if we don't get it all out tonight, we're going to continue again tomorrow night with the same topic. Okay? See? I'll keep going. If we got to go for a week or 2 weeks, we're going to sit on the toilet bowl until all the doo-doo come out. All right? So we're going to make sure it's like that. Right? So blow up the comment section, the chat room. We'll be looking at it, but I'm not going to interrupt you no more, Bulls the expat. Drop it for us.
Well, let me just say at the outset, Brother Lance, thank you for having me, and actually thank you for the viewers tuning in. You know, Lance, I can't speak for all brothers who go abroad. You know, I can't speak for them. I can only speak for me and my past experiences. In fact, I don't even consider myself a passport bro because I'm a husband and I'm a father of 2. So I don't consider myself into that category. So, but what I would like to do today, I just want to share with people my experiences, and at the same time, share with them the pros and the cons to this whole passport bro movement. Because as they stated, I can understand where people are coming from with this. But I think it needs some clarification and some context.
Yes.
You see. So if you want, I'll just basically, my story is very simple, Brother Lance.
Yes.
I was remember I told you about the girl last night. I was talking about the cutting the grass and everything, and I went over her house. Well, see what happened. What originally she and I were supposed to get married, and I was in the military at that particular time, and my intention was to be stationed stateside, and then once I go to wherever my duty station is in the States, then she would come along, and then we would get married, and then we'd be this kind of military family. But what happened was I went overseas. I got stationed in Japan. And it was a situation where she was still in college. She was a college student. And she didn't want to go. She was intending that I was going to be in the States and we would be together. But the military sends you where they want you to go. I mean, you may want to go somewhere, but in the end, the military needs come first. So they sent me overseas. So in a nutshell, the marriage was broken off. And, we're still friends to this day. It's just that there was no marriage between she and I. And what happened was I had a friend that I was stationed with in Japan, and he had a wife, and he knew my situation. And I had dated a female over there as well, a Japanese. But a friend of mine said, who was military, he said, hey, man, I know somebody that I can introduce you to that, I think will be good for you, a good mix for you, like that. And I said, okay, no problem. And he said she was in the Philippines because his wife was Filipino. He's an American married to a Filipino. And I was like, first thing I asked him, I said, was she in the Japan? He said, no, she's in the Philippines. So I said, oh, okay. Now, this is really before Facebook and Black Planet and MySpace. This is before all that even existed. This is before YouTube. So
right.
She and we started, I wrote a letter to her because that was the way things was back then. And she wrote me back. And we basically conversed off and on for about 3 years until finally I went to the Philippines to meet her, and I met her family. And they were nice to me. I was nice to them. And we eventually got married, and the rest is history. I've been married over 20 years ever since. Happily married, too.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, go ahead, brother.
No, I was going to say that when you and I, because I've been listening to you over 2 years.
Wow.
I've been listening to you, just like when you did that broadcast with the brother with the flashlight. I remember when you went live with that show. So I have been listening. I had known about you for years. Tune into the LanceScurv show. You see.
Wow.
So, but it wasn't until when I was in the Philippines, not a couple of months ago, that we spoke, and then we just talked and everything, and we had a program. So like I said, my situation was different than all these other people that you hear about on these YouTubers. And I want to talk about that too. But I just basically wanted to start off as an intro to explain myself to the listening audience and how it happened with me to go overseas like that. So,
so like here it is. You see, from the very beginning, we approached this in a very calm and intelligent way, not confrontational, not where the feeling that comes out of our words feel like it's laced with a type of pre-existing venom that was caused by something else in a person's life. So again, I put the comment up, and it's not going to be about this show is going to flow the way we want it to go. I'm not going to always respond right away to what people say, but I'm going to keep knocking this down with intelligence. And so Raisa said at Gifty Sine, it's pitiful that men have to leave the country for love. They should never suggest it's the woman's fault. I'm thinking about turning into a lesbian. Should I blame men? Now, wait a second.
Nobody asked you to do that.
Right.
But nobody asked you to be a lesbian. You my dear sister, you could be whatever you choose to be.
Yeah, like they say, be all that you can be. But the thing is,
like I said, Lance, the military needs come first. I never said I wanted to go. All my, when I was finished my schooling for my job, they had a list. They gave me a list, and they said you can go wherever you want to go on this list. So I'll put all my lists. I put stateside assignments. 10 locations. When I got my papers, instead of it being printed up to where I'm going, it was written in pen, as if somebody said, "Well, let's just send him here. We won't even type it in. We'll write it with a pen."
Right.
And I'm looking like, what? This is not what I wanted. I didn't want to be 8,000 miles away from the girl that I loved and I cared about.
Right.
But that's the way the chips fell.
Right.
And we broke up. We're still friends now. I haven't spoken to her in
Right.
years, but we still friends. But at the same
Right.
time, I end up finding somebody else. And it's interesting when I called her when I finished my 2 years, I called her on the phone just to see how she was doing because we broke up after like 6 months. I was in Japan. I called her on the phone about a year and a half later, and we're talking. We're having
Mm-hmm.
a very candid conversation. And I told her I met somebody else, and I moved on. She had just had a baby, and I was like,
Right.
I wish you the best of luck. And she said, whatever
Right.
you do, don't compare me to nobody else you meet. I said, you ain't got to worry about that. I
Right.
mean, there's no animosity. I mean, there was
Mm-hmm.
some, a year and a half ago, but not now. I said, I got over that, and
Right.
I just moved on with my life.
Well, you have a self-healing mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Raisa, for listening that long. And I do remember speaking, and I do see the name. Maybe you had a different name, but I don't remember every name, especially if they're not on all the time, like they come in and show their name. But this is the thing. This thing, what you said about it's pitiful that men have to leave the country for love. Our brother here basically explained everything, that it wasn't just that. If he was stationed in America, maybe it would have happened for him that way. And if you
Mm-hmm.
leave the country and find love, I think our problem as black people, melanated people, African people, whatever you want to call yourself, we're melanated and we are of the globe. And it comes from somewhere else where we have this mentality of separation. Oh, you from
Mm-hmm.
the Caribbean, I'm from America, you from Africa, I'm from. So how am I supposed to deal?
Mm-hmm.
I got a Jamaican daddy, American mama, who, because of her complexion, she's mixed. The slave
Mm-hmm.
master was frisky back then, right?
Of course.
So do I shun her, and do I shun the fact that my father's from Jamaica? She's not a passport sis. She didn't leave to go to Jamaica to find him. They
Right.
black. They loved each other. She saw within him the qualities that she desired in a righteous man. And it worked out just fine. So now, is the problem that they left the country? Because see, we so mixed up, and I say this in a good way, not mixed up mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got most of that too, but we
Mm-hmm.
have so many different cultures, men and
Mm-hmm.
women from different countries who are black, and they're in America. So what about the people who get with somebody from a different country but they never left America? What do we call that? See,
Mm-hmm.
this is a pre-existing condition as far as I'm concerned. It ain't got
Right.
nothing to do with the surface of a brother who's leaving the country, because you can do that, because if your mind is messed up and you got this Tariq Nasheed mentality where I'm FBA and then anybody from Africa and anybody, you a fool and an agent. I'm not saying you, Racer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying him who pushed that mentality, because we are all one, but we just happen to be in different countries, as it should be, because we're the original.
Mm-hmm.
The whole planet is black. And now,
Lance, uh-huh.
yeah, let me just finish up on this one. Here
Yes,
I
sir.
am in the motherland. I'm here looking at Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Liberia, Kenya, and the big motherland. Who took the stick and drew the line in the sand and said, you're Nigerian, and you're from Togo, and you're from Benin, and you're Ghanaian, and all the other 50 countries out of the 54 here in the motherland, right? And so we adopted this mentality of you're over there, so you can't, well, what about a dude who lives in New York and left the state and married somebody in Florida? Those are lines too. And even in America, when I went down south, as we say in slang, down south, it ain't down, down is under the ground. When I moved,
Mm-hmm.
Down south, I had a New York accent. Oh, you a New Yorker? Of course, it's the same land mass, but we still the same black people. So you go to a different country, same thing. So what if we sucked out all the water on the planet? It's one big country. We can walk across the Atlantic Ocean, drive over there, and so where's the separation? See, we've already been separated in our mind. And see the
True.
other, I'll say it like this. I'll just say it. They're gonna get me for saying white folks in general, right? Because there's some white folks who are hip to the game that's played on us, and they tell us what's being played on us, and we're like, damn, how he know that, and we don't know it. What's wrong with us? The separation that you have to leave the country. You'll leave your state if you get a good job. So what's wrong with the country? We have to have a global mindset. See, and I'm not saying, Raisa, this is you. All I'm saying, we have to have a global mindset no matter who you are. When you look at the Jews, the so-called, I don't want to say it, I almost
Small
slipped up
hat.
on there, right? Because they're on my ass. But anyway, when you look at them, one can live in Venezuela, one can live in China, one can be in Czechoslovakia, Singapore. It don't matter. They have an interest, and I'm just going to say it as it is and breeze past it, right? Because we know the deal with everything, right? They have an interest in that part of the world that they call home, no matter who they are. It's a unified mindset, but we should know that our unity is a threat. See? And they'll do everything they can to keep us from unifying. As in Memorandum 46, that me to basically say what it is that the government, it was a so-called how can I put it? Interagency communication that was not supposed to be seen by the world. Somebody got a hold of it, but it has the same status as the Willie Lynch letter. So whether the Willie Lynch letter was real or not, you can see those concepts playing out. Maybe somebody saw them playing out and say, well, I'm going to make a letter called the Willie Lynch letter, but it's true. So Memorandum 46 basically states that we have to keep the American black man and woman away from the African the black man and woman born in the motherland. Why? Because they didn't say it this way. I'm saying it this way. The American black men and women know our tricks and our games, and they hip to us. And if they take this intelligence and this smarts over to the motherland and hip the Africans to the game and get together with all the resources they have under their foot, it's game over for us. So we have to use propaganda. We have to use the media. We have to use everything. Just like in the kids in the school. Oh, you from Africa. You are African booty scratcher. How would you say? But those are kids, but they reflect what they hear. And so we got to get away from, well, you got to leave the country for love. Well, if we flip it, why would some men leave the country for love? Why do some men have to take the punishment in the sentence of what another man did to this woman, maybe one man or collectively, or a father who was a poor example of black manhood? Why can't you love and respect your man, or love and respect, love in general? I'm not saying go to bed with everybody, but why can't you respect on sight, even if he's homeless with a cup in his hand? That little bit of love and respect don't mean you have to hug him up and he's stinking. No. Say, brother, I'm going to send you some good energy. I see you out here every day. I may not have anything to give you, but I see you and I respect you no matter where you find yourself in this life. But see, we don't do that. And men also do the same damn things to women when they have that kind of mentality. Those type of men that have made our sisters bitter from the way that they treated them. See, but now when you leave and go to another country and you are searching for love and not ass, excuse my French, I'm not counting those guys in this. They're not coming up under this umbrella. It's raining out there. You stay your ass out there. You're not coming over here with that. I'm not condoning that. But the ones who would be a good man to you, who would love you, but you may have a little more money, but he wants to build. I don't have to build with him. I want a man who already has it. I've heard that. I see this online all the time, and it's engineered on social media. We're always against each other, whether it's a passport brother thing or not. And you don't see Asians doing it. You don't see even what they call Latino doing it. You don't see white folks doing it. The white woman stands by her man no matter what. He could have robbed the bank. She gonna sit home and count the money with him. You see what I mean? Come on, bulls.
You know,
Expat.
you know, Lance. What's the sister name again?
Oh, Raisa.
What's her name? Raisa. I just want to make sure I pronounce her name. Raisa. I just want to make sure I pronounce her name correctly. I'm gonna say something, and I think she probably will agree with me. Most of these guys on YouTube who call themselves passport bros are a bunch of degenerates.
Exactly.
They are a bunch of degenerates. And I'm gonna tell you why. If we really gonna get really deep into this, you know, I think it was it Plato or Aristotle who said a friend is that other person in which we see ourselves. Well, we said birds of a feather flock together. In other words, most of these guys that you see who claim they're looking for traditional women who will cook and clean and all that BS, they are still chasing the same kind of women they'll be chasing in the hood. Those types. The same women they would chase in the States is the same women they chase abroad. And I know some YouTubers. I'm not going to say their names, but I saw one. He was in Thailand. I'll just say he was in Thailand. And then he went to the Philippines. And he was talking about trying to find a traditional woman in the Philippines because he couldn't find one in Thailand. Then he ended up in Africa. But what's interesting about it, when he went to the Philippines, I'm looking at, okay, what women are you getting involved with? What women are you talking to? How can you tell me you chasing a woman who's a lady of the night and you looking for something traditional? That's a contradictory. I said, that's a straight contradiction. That's like me go to a strip club saying I'm looking for a traditional woman. I sound like a damn fool. Somebody say, well, common sense will say, man, why would you go there looking for that? A traditional woman? That's not where you find those type of women. So what I'm trying to say, listeners, many of these passport bros who talking about they looking for traditional women and they find in love, that's a bunch of BS. Don't judge them by what they say, judge them, by what they do. And what you'll find, the same women that they was chasing here in the States is the same type of women they'll be chasing overseas. Mm-hmm. This same YouTuber, he said some girl he met in the Philippines, her father wanted to meet the guy, this guy from America. Rightfully so. You want to know who's running with your daughter. And he threw a fit. He went on, he did a podcast and he threw a fit about a guy coming overseas to meet meet a girl to meet her father. Like, why do I have to do that? Why do you think you have to do that? What man wants to see his daughter running around a country with a complete stranger? We have guys coming over to the Philippines. One guy, he went over there. He got 7 girls pregnant in 1 month.
Oh, no.
My wife was telling me about this. This guy came in. He got 7 girls pregnant in 1 month, and then he left.
Damn.
The same thing. I mean, I can't put it well. The same thing that he was doing in the States, he came and did overseas. It's the same thing. These are the same people.
Same thing. Yes.
The exact same thing.
You're right. And see, I'm going to address the other comment again. Let me go back to it because I'm on a different screen because I put Gifties. And see, I strive to be fair. See, I'm not going to beat up on somebody. I'm not like these guys, get out of here. I don't do that unless they're disrespectful. But I like to go where nobody has gone before. I'm the Captain Kirk of YouTube, right? So let me go back to where the comments are. And let me just put this comment back up again. And okay, here it is. Okay, a lot of these proud interracial dudes are using ego. No NBA player or I believe she meant, or black executive need to leave America to date or marry out of their race. Well, let's just say, I don't want to say average because there's no black man that's average. If he feels he's average, he hasn't tapped into who he really is. Let's just say, for the sake of other people who may not think that way, an average black man. Now we have to define that. Somebody who is working, may not make a lot of money, and basically decent. He may have a vice of sipping wine on the weekend, or he may have a girlfriend or two, whatever, but he's not off the mark that bad. He ain't having the same type of people coming at him as if he was an NBA player. He's not having the same type of women coming at him if he was a black executive. Let me tell you something.
They're not the standard. You can't compare an NBA player. I'm saying respect to the sister. You can't compare an NBA player, an executive, to the average man out there in the street trying to make a living. There's no comparison.
Exactly.
There's just no comparison. In fact, well, I was going to say something, but it may be a little bit offensive. I'm not going to say this, but not directed to the sister. I'm talking about to these people. It's like trying to compare me to an actor, a person who made a living in fiction. Their whole career has been on the stage with a green screen around it, like they fighting the Incredible Hulk or Captain America. I mean, their whole existence has been in fantasy. You can't. That's like trying to compare me to Denzel Washington. There's no comparison. You know, the man is talented in his art. I think he should have won the Academy Award for Malcolm X instead of Training Day. But I'm not. You can't compare me to him because I'm not him and he's not me. In fact, I'd rather be me than him because for me, I can jump up here and say whatever I want to say. He can't do that without having the contract taken away. So those people have no. They have the NBA people. They have no freedom. They can't. All they can do is bounce a ball and maybe go to the Shriners Hospital.
Really and truly, before they even get in the NBA, who do they have pushed on them when the scouts are coming at them? White women with the breasts. Some of them have the fake behinds, or some of them may be in such great shape where they may have a shape that's somewhat comparable. Not in my mind, but that's what was pushed on them. So when they divorce, if they get married, all that wealth goes back somewhere else. So they're controlled.
True.
You understand?
That's true.
And see,
so the average man that gets up and go make a living, he has to go and make a living off the sweat of his brow, and he may be making a decent living. You can't compare him to somebody who's in the NBA or somebody who's in Hollywood. There's no, because those people are a minority.
Exactly.
Excuse me. They are a minority in a society.
When Raisa said, I'm surprised someone who is blessed to live in Africa would acknowledge this trend. I guess I'm racist. Pray for me. Now, let me tell you something else on that. I never had a problem meeting nice ladies, women in America. So am I a passport bro who did Uber Eats? Because Miss Scurv moved from Jamaica to America and lived there many years before I met her. Right? The girlfriend I had for years, 8 years, when I was in my 20s. She's from Jamaica. The one I married first is from Trinidad and Tobago. Yet I dealt with a lot of American women, and I never said, oh, it just happened that way. You go play the lottery and do some numbers, you can go years without hitting. And then you go to another place that you never went to before and get the number, and you win millions. Was it the place, or was it that it's your time now to hit? And so now, living in Africa, there are many, many women who have the traditional idea of not you take care of me, but I take care of the home and you provide for it, and I'll provide a home, because it's a real woman who can turn a house into a home. If I can build a house of my own, I can live in a house of my own, but that's all it's going to be. Now, I know I could make it a home, but never on my own. Right? If I was single and living out here, and I happen to marry a woman who is born here, does that make me a passport brother because she has those qualities? Because many out here have not been tainted by the Western mindset. Again, we're not condoning the guys out here looking for sex. We're talking about the principle here. And there are a lot of women. There are a lot of Caribbean women living in America who have the modern day women mentality. There are a lot of former women who are former revolutionaries down for the cause who changed up when they got a taste of a fat paycheck. And now they start looking around at their own man. When you get exposed to different things, your view goes further. Nobody said nothing when Stella had to get a groove back. She was the original passport sister in the media. Go ahead, brother.
You know what, Lance, I'm going to say this, and I think this is really going to really cut to the straight to the matter, heart of the matter. The reality is that over the past 50 years in America, this society has moved towards secularism. And this secularism, wokeism, neo-liberalism. And what has happened, we live in a country where men and women don't need each other anymore. That is the heart of the problem. Men and women, everything is about what I want, what I want, what I want to get. But the truth is, men and women don't need each other anymore. My father and my mother was married over 50 years, and it would have lasted longer, but my father, he had health issues, and my mother, she had some mental health issues. But the point where I'm trying to say is, I seen them go through up and down. I seen my father, when my father first started out, my father, he didn't have a lot of money. He had just got out the military. He used his GI Bill. He did insurance by day, and he was a college student, student by night. And he used his GI Bill to put a down payment on a house.
Wow.
But the point was, my mother saw his potential. So she was willing to sacrifice, because she knew, it's like building the house. You start at the foundation. You have to lay the cornerstone. So she was willing to work with him, starting at the cornerstone, that when they went through the process, finally in the end, they finished the house with the capstone on top. They had the patience to deal with each other, because she knew she needed him, and she wasn't afraid to say she needed him. The problem, nobody wants to admit that they need anybody, because in truth, they don't. Why would I go to get something in the place that I already have? Why would I go get it when I already got it? And the reality of it is, men and women in America don't need each other. They don't need each other no more. It's sad. Nobody wants to really deal with this. It's become an issue of me, what I want. That's that neoliberalism stuff. Well, it's about my happiness. It's about me finding my space. It's about me living my true self. It's about me. And nobody wants to really honestly admit that they don't. I love my wife, and I can admit that I need her. And the reason why I say that, she is strong in areas where I'm weak.
Right.
I am strong in areas where she's weak. My wife can handle money. She can handle money better than I can. I've seen where she had a little leisure and she writes stuff down. She handles. I'm not saying I can't handle. I'm saying she handles it in terms of accounting. She's more organized than I am. I just go out there and spin, and she'd be like, well, let's look at this. Let's write. I see her little notes she take. Now, my strong point with her is my memory. She may say, she may forget something, say, well, can you remind me of this? Because, she believes that, my memory is stronger than hers. Well, okay, fine. Fair enough. But what I'm saying is, where I'm strong, she's weak, and where I'm weak, she's strong. But we both complement each other, but I'm not afraid to admit that. I don't have an ego so big to say, well, man, I got it all figured out. I got it. You just need to listen to me, and I will lead you to the promised land. Probably couldn't lead you to the bathroom.
Well, speaking of the bathroom, give me 90 seconds to go to the bathroom and come back. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
You gave me the out. I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay, yeah, I got it. So I just want to say, I can understand how many of you all, I'm gonna raise some eyebrows here. Right in front of me, I got Shirazad Ali's book, Black Men's Guide to Understanding Black Women. And I remember when she was coming on TV, like the late 80s, early 90s. And I remember she was on TV and she was promoting her book. And I remember how people were attacking her and they were just going after her. But I was just sitting back listening. I say, well, if what she says is true or false, time will determine that. Excuse me. And time has determined that most of what that sister said was true. The sister was spot on. And when I talk about this neoliberalism, what I'm basically saying is what I touched on the other day when I said we have become a society of who's right and what's right. Back in the day, I remember in the 70s, black people, we had more unity as a people. But the more we were given integration in this society, the more black people we became further and further and further apart from away from each other. And to add to that, I remember like going to the movies, and I remember the first time I saw a black person simulated death was in these black films. And I remember looking at that and I said, why are people making movies where black people kill each other? Because we have a tendency to repeat what we see and copy what we see. So all these little things that happen over time that has led to things today. And, you know, I'm just saying that to say that it's not any just one thing. The issue with us as a people is different things that has happened over the years. But in terms of the relationship thing, from what I have noticed, it seems like nobody wants to admit that they need anybody. Everything is based on, well, what can you do for me? Well, what am I going to get out of it? Well, my dreams, my goals, my ambitions, you know, it's me. And nobody wants to come to the table and say, wait a minute, I need this person that I'm with, that I'm married to. This is the reason why I'm married to them, because this is what I have to offer them. And this is what they have to offer me. And it's somewhat of a mutual exchange, because relationships are based on needs, not on wants.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say that again. But relationships are based on needs, not wants. And we have become a people of relationships of wants and not necessarily needs.
Exactly.
But I still say, Lance, most of these passport bros are charlatans. Because I look at how they move. So, I see them.
Yeah. Right. So
the white boys too.
Yeah.
It's not just the brothers, them too.
If you heard the disclaimer at the beginning of the show, when I was saying it's not about these guys who are out there looking to get laid. We're not talking about them. Were you here from the very beginning, Rice? Because I made sure to say that several times. And it's not about condoning these guys going out there looking for pleasure or decadence. It's about the real brothers who I know a lot of brothers who really are probably not going to leave America, but I know a lot of brothers who are good brothers who are still single, and they've been trying. And not to blame all black women, but he had bad experiences with many black women, and he still loves black women from America. And he has no desire to leave, to go find a woman somewhere else. But if he did, why not? He's looking for a black woman. He's not going somewhere else, and he's got this thing in his mind. And if you find love with somebody in another country, and they have a different background, different race, and you both agree on how you want to live, and you fall in love. I mean, love is love. I'm not saying this for people who say that, but it's a fetish for them, right? You got a lot of white men out here who they know. And see, let me just say it this way. There's a lot of white people out here who've been watching the sitcoms and looking at the internet and how we argue with each other. They know our story probably better. Some of them, they don't know our pain. They don't know our frustration, but they're standing outside the ropes like a boxing match. And you study this boxer, following him with his whole career, and you can tell him things about himself. And if he said, you're not a boxer, how do you know? Because I had time to observe you and watch you. And that's what they do. They study us.
Brother Lance, Brother Lance, check this out. We can go deeper than that. You know, in these black colleges and universities, and you know how you have black people who are sociologists and psychologists, students and urbanologists.
Yes.
And you know they're doing their dissertation and they're doing their thesis. They write these things about things in the black community when they're doing their papers. So the professors are reading what they're writing. So they know, they say, okay, if you have X amount of children who grow up, who don't grow up in a complete family setting without a mother and a father, I mean, you know, a strong,
Right.
you know, traditional mother and father situation, that statistically the children are more, you more likely to see premarital sex in the boys and girls, and you more likely to see children born out of wedlock, and that kind of, you know, sit in that environment, that kind of environment. So these people, they don't, it's
Exactly.
not like they, like you said, it's not like they don't know what's going on. People write books
Yes.
about this.
Exactly.
They write this. Now, I don't mean to get too personal with the sister. I don't mean to get too personal with her, but I would like to ask. I mean, she don't have to answer this because, you know, she has a choice. I was going to ask her, how old is she, and has she ever been married?
Right. If she can answer that, it's okay
Yeah.
if she does.
Yeah,
But
she,
okay,
right,
let me
right.
just,
You know, you
yeah,
know, I'm not a big Kevin Samuels supporter, but sometimes, you know, like Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. said, all problems are solved through the process of questions and answers. And sometimes you just got to start
exactly.
out asking people questions.
That's right. Now, see the comment that was made when she said, "What a pile of nonsense." Let's just read the whole thing from before, and it was said here. Let me get this comment. If your priority is a black spouse and black children, it's easy to find a mate. If one can leave the country, same fellow can travel all over America. What a pile of nonsense to leave America to find love. America's a huge country. I don't buy the rhetoric. Let me tell you something. How is it rhetoric if it's not your experience? How can you assess the next person's experience? You say America is a
Brother,
big country, but your mind is just about America. It's about the world.
brother,
You see,
brother,
yeah, go ahead,
brother
brother.
Lance, people don't marry bodies, people marry minds.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, to go and find somebody in America, it has to happen, but it can't happen if the parts don't work.
There you go.
And the mindset is a certain way. It's not ever
That's
going to work. You can get anybody and go down to the courthouse and get married. That don't mean it's going to work. You
You
got
can
to be
marry a
around the
crackhead.
person. You got to feel their energy. You got to spend time with them. And there are a lot of brothers
True.
who have. And they say, you know, like I said with the analogy before, if you're looking for something in a certain department store and they don't have the clothing, well, then you go to the next one. And you
There
can
you
look
go.
anywhere you want to look. Just the same way, I'm going to say it this way too now. With the what serves the wayward passport brothers right is that when they go down to the other countries and they get used by these chicks who act like they're down for that, when the guys who are lying say, yeah, I'm looking for a wife, for that, they just looking for the
Yeah,
goodies. And so they
that's
play
all.
along with it, but they trying to get the money out of you. Let me
Mm-hmm.
flip this now for a second, and I'll answer your question, Raisa. Out here in the motherland, because of social media and how important phones are, you know, the economy here is not pristine for many people who are here. It's not up on the
Mm-hmm.
same level, although I let people know it's a lot of money made, but there's a lot of money spent. And you're going to run that wheel half the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at my face in that video on this banner. I'm 61 years old. I took that picture the other day, and I took a bunch of them. That's why you see me like I'm shirtless or whatever have you, because I was out in the sun.
Mm-hmm.
About maybe 5-6 years ago, up under my eyes was so messed up, I looked like a raccoon. Wasn't getting a deep sleep. I'm getting REM sleep all the time. Hell, I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
REM sleep in the afternoon. Does
Get
that
you
mean
some,
I
get you
hate
some,
America?
get you some calcium and some melatonin.
Oh yeah, definitely. But now it's like, why are you so against a man who is global? Not knocking you personally, but he says, okay, I don't see what I need here. And I've traveled far and wide, and I've secretly assessed the women that I've been around. I'm quite sure most men, if they have enough patience, can weed through those who may shun him or put him down because he doesn't. Who wants to be put down? Look, ain't nobody looking for no mama, but be nurturing as he can be nurturing to you. We had more love. If you look at the blaxploitation movies, yeah, we had little mobsters and little gangsters and little prostitutes, whatever. But go back to
Mm-hmm.
that time. In actuality, the Marvin Gaye days when it was what's going on, right? We had
Mm-hmm.
more love for each other. Look at the block parties and the cookouts and the house
True.
parties and how people greeted each
True.
other. This is a
True.
different world affected by somebody who was an intruder, and it was intrusive in our mind because look, I can go back, brother. You can go back. Many of us can go back. And we act like, because of social media freezing time in our minds. Look, the other day I was watching Muhammad Ali fight Larry Holmes when he lost. It took me right back there. I remember
so
where I was.
that day.
Exactly.
That day, that fight.
So, yeah. So now it's 2024. If I get caught up in this projection of the past, which is not harmful, if I know how to filter it out, other things will come into play. And it's like, I'm 61. I keep saying my ages because when I listen to videos, I can see what age I am. But what I'm saying is that the time goes by and we don't realize it because our minds have been hijacked with this stuff. The question should be, what happened to the mutual love and respect? Even if you don't love the man to want to marry him, what happened to the respect? You say rhetoric. You don't buy the rhetoric. I don't buy this time how us as men call the sisters hoes and bitchs. I don't buy that either.
When they used to be called the Supremes. The Supremes.
Let's talk about that rhetoric.
Sisters had names of groups, singing groups that lifted them up. The Four Tops, the Dells. Right. You see? Okay, Ohio players. Okay, all right. We could play it. Players could mean player and instruments. Ohio, we'll give them that. Ohio, But the problem is that's what I said. This kind of secularism thing that came in. It was, remember, like in the song said, how you gonna get respect until you haven't cut your process yet? Then somebody injected something into the society like a shot of Novocaine that said, oh no. What it should be is, it's your thing. Do what you want to do. Right. Here's another statement. This is how these people work. Like you said, those people with those little hats. And among other people, I'm serious, brother. This is how they do it. I mean, they what is that thing that says do la si? What is that? How does this go, brother Lance? Do la si fa to la si do. Oh, how does it go?
Right. Now I'm forgetting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What? It's I'm just trying to add to what you're saying. I'm just putting it in a spiritual level. Right. What happens is this. It's like people who sit up and say, we want the society to go in a certain kind of way. Like you said, we don't want the blacks in America to connect with the blacks in Africa and let them understand what's going on. So before the blacks in Africa, let me say this. We can agree that Malcolm X, Dr. King, Medgar Evers, the Black Panthers were all killed by a system that did not want them out there talking to the people. Now, when you take men like that off the scene, you got to replace them with something else. So what you start to see, like with COINTELPRO, when you take these black leaders, when you kill these leaders, you got to replace them with something. And what was replaced with them was Superfly, the pimp whore type culture. As it relates to music, when you see songs like, remember, like back in the day, there were love songs like "When Will I See You Again," "I Miss You," again. Very, 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 love songs. But then, as the years progressed, the music became more explicit, like they say, explicit lyrics. So now it went from "When Will I See You Again," "I Miss You," to "I Want to Sex You Up."
No. And this is how these people went from "When Will I See You Again" to "My neck, my back, my pizza and my crack." I said pizza, y'all. I ain't seen nothing else.
So now you don't even have to. It's like TV. Like, remember the time when the man and woman would kiss, and they would cut to nature scenes, and you see water flowing and birds, chirping on the trees. So you had to use your imagination to see, what's going on. Now they say, to hell with that. We're just going to put it right in front of your face. So what am I saying? I'm saying this. What happened, I think, with us as a people, we went from one thing to whereas we were on the up and up as a group, as a people, trying to do something collective, till somebody came in and injected some in this idea in the society to say, no, You all should be individuals. But in reality, nobody can build anything as an individual. You see?
Right.
If you look at like the, whether you want to call them Illuminati, whatever you call it, these people working in groups. They have a network. So what I'm saying is, you have people who put an idea into the society, and they make it, the average black person think it's the next best thing to slice bread, but what is really meant to destroy us as a people. In other words, it's like in the LGBTQ, that's just another part of that injection into the society. Say, what we're going to do, we can't run them down and kill them like we used to. They raised too many eyebrows. Right. So what we'll do, we'll get them to participate in their own destruction.
Right, right. Now, see, look, and I put a comment up from Race again. So our passport brothers are the same as MGTOW, which stands for men going their own way. I don't know, but if men are needy, they aren't as independent as black as women are apparently.
That's a good question.
See here, but check this out though. My thing is, why is it they aren't as independent as women are? All this rank and file. We got to know our damn place. Woman, womb man.
Of the womb of a man.
Right. Man, but that doesn't mean you're going to be in the kitchen pregnant and barefoot, and that's a beautiful thing. Not because I want to be over you and superior to you. No. The thing is, look, when a man loves you right, he's going to give everything. And I'm sensing, Race, as some type of feeling, some kind of way, some kind of venom or something, because it's always challenging the thing. Listen, when was the last time you sung to a man, "When will I see you again"? Can you bring yourself to a place to open up emotionally, to show emotion to a man? Why is it that I got a idea you got your fist balled up all the time? And I know women like that. I'm not saying you're like that all the way. But I would like to know what your and I don't expect you to say it here, what has been your personal trajectory with men, and I'm not buying that rhetoric and whatever. And see, there are a lot of women who they knock the man, belittle the man, and they aren't as independent as women are. This man-woman thing, that's that old white stuff, man. When the white cavemen were beating up on the women and going and laying up with the next man. Like there should not be this thing, because we ain't going nowhere without each other. We need each other.
True. So
that thing is coming from something else. It got you. You see what I mean? We need to reject all that foolishness and pull this garment off and love each other. Like I said, even if it's not the man, if the man disrespects you, any man, you straighten them out.
Lance,
but there's something that needs to come out.
Yeah, go ahead. That MGTOW thing is a new form of homosexuality.
That's what I'm trying. Where are you going? Men going their own way. What? Men going their own way? That sounds good. Their own way? What own way? I'm trying to look. I'm married and everything, but I'm gonna say it as a man. I'm trying to be with a woman. Right.
And I'm trying to when brothers hear that, at least when we hear that, we like men going their own way.
Men going their own way.
Where are you gonna go?
Hanging out, holding hands on the beach, kissing or something? I mean, what is this? Urinating on the side of the road, and you holding each other's thing? What kind of men going their own way thing?
No cohabitation with women, no marriage, no dating. They just turn the guys into a bunch of incels. Tell me about it. But see, again, Lance, you and I are older.
Right.
So we know when this stuff never even existed. We've been around. We were adults. Look, we were adults before the internet was ever created.
Exactly. Men going their own way. So no, it's not. Because at the end of the road, whether the passport, look, if we open up the floodgates for all passport brothers, the ones who are looking for sex and the one who are looking for true love, they ain't going after no man. Talking about no man going their own way. Passport brothers will never do that. If we looked at the general sense of all of them, but again, we're only focusing on those sincere gentlemen who are respectful of women, who want to build and want a wife. These women who are, you don't make enough for me, and I'm in my career, and that ain't no wife. I should not have to compete. I should not have to qualify on certain levels. Yes, I have to qualify with morals and decency. Yes, a woman has in her spirit, in her essence, a need to be secured. And yes, women are doing it for themselves, but understand how it falls on the overall scale. And that doesn't mean like, well, I got money now. I don't need you. Where does that come from? And then you get mad when the brothers don't want to be bothered with that. The real ones. You get mad when they want to, okay, I'm out of here. And now you, why would you? You can find it in America. Well, if I find it in America, it ain't going to be somebody with an American mentality. It ain't going to have a mentality like that.
Because that's what I was just saying. That's what I was just saying, Lance. Minds marry minds. In other words, going back to what I said earlier, birds of a feather flock together. So more than likely, if you get with somebody, you're going to get with somebody that shares certain ideas and beliefs like you share.
Right.
That
Wait a
makes
second,
sense.
Though. Wait. Men need sex. Women don't need sex. Do men need companionship? The hell they do. I need companionship.
Women.
What? Women don't need sex. Look. You talking to somebody who has a lot of experience with the opposite
she's
sex.
playing. Girl,
I think you're playing now. I think you're trolling now. Women don't need sex. Look, my regular little phone back in the early 80s used to ring all night long. What you doing? Whatever. And I'm like, yo, I want to hang out and be, it's not always that you want to do that. I need to be held. I need to be nice things whispered in my ear. Sometimes look, men are always ready for sex, but I need the balance. Look, y'all know I'm not a scholar from a university, but I'm very cerebral. I don't want to just get sex and go. I want to talk. I want to know you. I want to have a connection. Maybe the impression that all men or most men are like that, and most men are horny little dogs too, but there's a lot of kitty cats out here.
It's called testosterone.
And there's a lot of dance partners to cheat with, okay?
Lance,
I get approached all the time.
It's called testosterone. If women wanted sex more than men did, we'd be dead. Because we couldn't keep up.
That's right.
You'd be like, what? You want it 5 times?
Yeah, that's too much. I might have hung with you in 1982 and 83, but after about maybe 88, nah, I can't do that no more. Not even 88. I'd say about 85.
Yeah, it's like,
I was 22.
I can't.
Yeah, no, I can't.
I can give you about 2, and after that, that's about it.
Shoot, I'm happy with 1. I'm gonna make that one last long.
I remember when I first used Viagra for the first time. I was like in my 30s, and what I noticed about it, I was married at that time, but I noticed. Right. If anything, it made me, like how you take creatine, and how you working out on creatine, and you do your set, and normally you'll get tired at like the 10th rep, but you were able to squeeze out 15, and then you take a break, and then you're ready to jump back in and do another set. That's all it did. It's like it made me like recover instead of like busting one off and then falling asleep. It made me recover to go and do it again. But that was really it. Right. That was it. Okay. It's like this stuff, they talk like this stuff is some wizard stuff. I'm like, not for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got to drink to be, because you have to drink a lot of liquid when you do the creatine, right? Now, here it is again, Raisa. Raisa is the star of the show tonight. I don't need sex. I mate twice a year, biological need, read a medical journal. I know about that. And the character, the little machine called Nomad on the original Star Trek, that little thing that came was floating around, and they had to give it up and shit exploded. Yeah, right. And I am Nomad. You are the Kirk. Right? So you sound like that now. I don't need sex. Right. I mate twice a year. Biological need. Read a medical journal. Let's have an orgasm. Look. You took the whole feeling. I don't need sex, but don't you need love? Don't you need bonding? It's not, look, you can mate twice a year and do the act. But when you're with somebody and you love them and you are turned on to them, there is a visual stimulation. You think if I'm with somebody, I'm just looking at their elbows. Oh my God, you got sexy elbows. I might have a elbow fetish, or like we said yesterday, fetish, before I knew how to say it, right?
Fetish.
I might have an elbow fetish.
Fetish.
Yeah, so
Hey,
so
mom, I
so
have a
what I'm saying
fetish.
is that these things lead into to sex. It don't mean sex all the time. I have been in the bed with. I was about to say many a woman. I ain't gonna look Freudian slip. Yeah,
Many,
I've been in the bed with many women,
a
and a lot of
dozen.
times I just want to enjoy laying there and talk because a lot of men also don't like the pressure all the time of having to have sex. And it's like, okay, we'll take care of you, but I'm not going to do that. No, okay, I'm out of here. I want to hang a little bit. I want to, you know what I mean? You over there
Yeah.
preparing something for me. Not that I can't prepare something for you. You got a little short
Mm-hmm.
thing on, and I'm looking at you up and down. I was like, man, that was good. Look at her. She's so sexy, man. It's not about I mate twice a year. I don't need sex. I need love. I need connection. I need companionship. And it's not something that, in 3 more days, I'm supposed to have sex. I mate twice a year. It's coming up on the schedule. What kind of non-emotional thing is that?
Robotic.
Exactly. Intimacy.
Lance, I take it. You probably did it, but you probably weren't really into one night stands with women and stuff like that.
It was presented to me, but I never ran nobody down for that. I was
Yeah.
doing male
Yeah.
stripping and bodybuilding, all that stuff. And yeah, I wasn't saying no, but that's not what I really wanted.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me tell
Yeah.
you something.
Mhm.
When I would go and a woman would invite me to her place, and it was an adventure for me.
Mhm.
And anytime I was with anybody, it wasn't like, okay, bend over. No, we're gonna make fun out of it. I kind of might know that it was gonna be one night, but I was a romantic kid. When I was young and I would see these love songs, well, that's the era that I was embedded with this feeling. Now, although from the outside, and well, look, this is what the women were attracted to about me. Oh, you're
Mhm.
different. You talk with me. Oh, you're this. They wanted that one night stand, but they wanted to sample my energy.
Mhm.
And they never forgot me, not because I was some sexual acrobat, but they remembered. Look, let me tell you something. Let's tell you a little LanceScurv secret here. People from 40 years ago, 45 years ago, would hit me with an email or a text message. You might not remember me, Lance, but I can't believe I found you. Not that I was really looking, but every now and then I thought about you. Now, we only spent 1 or 2 nights together, but I have to
Mhm.
say that you were a real gentleman. And it was different. In all the times I dealt with others, I'm not putting myself on the pedestal. What I'm saying is that I
Mhm.
left an impression. It
Mhm.
wasn't just like going to the bathroom. Hurry up and come. Oh, did you come yet? But no, take your time and make it last forever.
Mhm.
Then it's an experience that's worthwhile. And initially, they may have come at me where, okay, I just want to see what it's like to deal with somebody who had muscles like that. And it
Mhm.
ended up they saw more into me.
Mhm.
And it was always a connection. And I've received a lot of, and
Mhm.
sometimes I say, well, I'm going to send you a photo and maybe you'll remember me. Now, if you're 200 pounds heavier, I might not remember you, but you know what I mean? We all get a little older, but
Mhm.
that's what it is. And I felt that was something, I'm not just going to say good, but that was a compliment to the young me. You know what I mean? I tell dirty jokes. I say things. I got friends that I've known for over 50 years. My friend Angelo that came on the show the other night. Again, I met him in 1969 when he was 10 and I was 6.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we never had a time when we lost contact. Now,
Mhm.
because we're grown and have responsibilities, we might not talk every day, but when we pick up the phone and talk or text out of nowhere, it's a conversation that's perpetual. It never ends. It's like a comment section on a video. It may take 3 days to get a response, but it's an ongoing conversation, an ongoing connection, and that's what we're
Mhm.
missing.
Mhm.
Who has stole the soul? Who stole the admiration when a black woman looks at you, even if it's not a sexual thing? Like she sees your essence and she's looking at you. It's not like, oh, it's rhetoric. No. So what if you found love elsewhere? And elsewhere is just another part of the planet where we're all over the place. We're all over the planet. He didn't denounce black women, the decent kind, but you got these clowns on YouTube that their whole time is all about talking about black American women ain't no good and they this and they that. But if you really into the woman that you found or you're looking for, you ain't got no time to sit up. It's like the kids in school. Like these girls in school, in elementary school. Oh, Lance, you ugly. You ugly. Oh, you look funny because they really like me. And the girls got it from the guys. Oh, you ain't nothing. You ugly. You this, you that. And some of the girls didn't realize that the guys really liked them. Whatever you think is what you're manifesting. Yeah, your mind. And so
Lance, I try to stay away from like these guys come on YouTube and they be talking about black women. I try to stay away from that because I understand we are just a byproduct of the problem. The real problem is the culture. It's a cultural problem. That's why I said this neoliberalism, secularism. It's a cultural problem. It's not a black man problem. It's like us in a car. Somebody's driving the car and we're passengers, and we are affected by what the driver of the car is doing. And that's what our situation is. We are just people in the country that are affected by what lawmakers and politicians and bureaucrats, the things that they do. We're just affected by that. It's just like the LGBTQ. The people in the government are the ones that's making these policies. And in the state and the city governments, it's not the masses of black people. Yeah, they got some black faces up there, but most of the people, it's just like these white guys. I saw a screenshot of the state of California, and they talked about the state of California now compared to 50 years ago is less white people, and these guys on there trying to blame, they're trying to blame everybody except for self. And I basically said, hey, you got in the government, the state and the federal government is ran by white people. Your white people only make up 11% of the global population, and as Americans, we make up 6% of the global population. I'm talking about as Americans as a whole. So I said, in other words, when you had Roe versus Wade 51 years ago, that basically said women could get abortions. So what did you think? When you see these people coming into the state of California that's non-whites, I'm like, what did you think was going to happen? So it's not black people to blame. It's not really the immigrants. I mean, the illegals. I said it's your politicians. I mean, these are all issues. The immigrants and illegals. These are issues. I don't disagree with that. Right. But blame your politicians. Your politicians did this. Your white politicians are responsible. They did all this stuff. It's just that we as black people, we were just along for the ride. We were in the car. They were driving. The white folks been driving the car, and we're just passengers in the car that they're driving.
Exactly.
You see?
I put the link up so anybody can click the link and come in and join the discussion. Raisa.
We'd love to hear what people. Yeah, come on, sister. We want to hear what you got to say. We're not here to attack anybody. I love to hear what the listeners have to say, because I'm learning just like they are.
It's a growth process that goes the entire life, you know, and it's over here, and I will say because I'm here and I studied the culture, even though we look alike here, there are a lot of differences mentally and the outlook because of how things are here. And I was speaking to a guy in the camp today, and he was breaking down to me why he feels that Americans are so rich, and it's his perception. And I explained the reality, not trying to say he's lying because his perception is real to him. But I brought up some points that made him think deeper, and now he understood more. This is why we have to have healthy dialogue, right? So, you know, Raisa may have some harsh language or whatever, but I'm starting to understand it to a point. But you're going to have to expand your mind. It's not just about America. It should never be just about that. And the way I was raised, my father's from Jamaica. That's not too far from America. But the thing is, because they exposed me to so much, there were no limitations on my mind. It had to be this, it had to be that. And so many black people are like this, where they go to the restaurant and only look at one page on the menu. Not really and truly, but I'm just saying that's to explain how they think, that it has to be this way and it has to be that way. And we're caged. The main thing is about being a real husband and being a real wife. And if you're not nurturing to that man, and that man is not securing you and reciprocating that nurturing. See, when you're in a marriage, it's a multifaceted dynamic. You're not just
it's about give and take.
Time.
It's about giving and take.
See, if I'm sick and I'm in the bed, like, look, when I had malaria, when I came back from here for the first time, I was laying in the bed. I told the story a couple of days ago. And Mr. Scurv is very clean. And you ain't eating in no bed. So I'm laying in the bed. Well, you heard that story. I'm laying in the bed and I'm weak. This is the point that I was as close to death as I've ever been. That's how bad that thing was eating me up. And so I was so weak, I didn't even want to eat. Right? That freaked me out. That I didn't want to. I'd eat something. Did you eat it? Some little tiny cup or something. Man, I put food down. But I'm laying in the bed and I said, sweetheart, where'd the chocolate cake come from? She said, what you talking about? I said, cut on the light. There's chocolate cake on the bed. She cut the light out and said, sweetheart, that's not chocolate cake. You needed to go to the bathroom. I said, oh my God. That's how close I was. But I was like a little boy to her at that point. And she was like a mother. She's not my mother, but she's like a mother. When she needs to be nurtured, if something from her past comes up in her mind that traumatized her and she's shedding tears, I wrap my arms around her and I don't say, hey, you're looking pretty good. Why don't you give me some? No, I have to be a father figure in my spirit and in my energy, whatever it takes, right? And I'm a protector. And I'm one who has wisdom. And she's one who has wisdom. She doesn't know any of the technical things that go into running a site. Or look, social media is easy. You can pick up your phone, click a button, but I go deep. If you check this one show, how many places I distributed to, I made the banner. I made several banners for this one show. It took me a couple hours doing stuff, stopping, coming back. But she can suggest to me, Lance, it's not a good idea to do this way. I think about it. I'm like, oh, man. But it's not the technical. So we have to go lock and key. But when the lock has key components and you're trying to stick the key into the lock and you're met with the very attributes you have as a man coming back at you, then it ain't going to work. And America has messed up social media, and social media has messed up the minds of many young ladies out here in the motherland because they realize it, right? They realize, and really and truly, I don't know how it is that my TikTok pulls up nothing but African women. I guess because I'm here. I guess because I want to see the whole world. But in my algorithm there, it's a lot of African women, young ladies, and a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, they get up and dance a little bit, and they got to turn around and show their butt. This is a butt-centered culture. And of course, African men like those who, even still, like many Jamaican men, they like the women who are a little heavy and got the hips and and they like that here too. And my thing is that what bugged me out was that the natural build of the African woman. Now we got them eating the junk food and looking bad and bad health, but the ones who come from way out in the country, I'm talking about way out, where you don't have signals, okay? You don't have cell phone signals, nothing going out there, right? But when they come into the city to work and live, and some of the ones who were born and raised here in the city, which I'm not in the city right now, they have some devastatingly crazy shapes. And the guys here, they walk past them, and if this was a brother from America, he would have whiplash. Oh my God, look at her, look at her, look at that one, look at that one. Pound for pound. But, it's funny I say but now, right? But it's different here. It's a little different that way. And so a lot of the stuff is conservative. A lot of the affection in public is quelled. They don't do that out here. They don't hug. They may hug quick, whatever. But they're not holding hands. They're not kissing up. They're not doing none of that. But I bet you see all these babies running around here. There's a whole lot of other things going on, but they do it behind closed doors. Yeah.
Right. There's no public show of affection.
Right. So it's different here. Look at it this way. If a young lady who is not equipped to take care of children or has someone to help take care of children, look, if she's 20 years old in America and got 6 babies, people are looking like, what the hell? Right? And look, here, if you don't have children, I'm not saying by 20 you'll have 6, but by the time you hit 25, 26, it's kind of looked down on. Like, what's wrong with you? They're not doing that over in America, right? And now as a man, if by the time you hit 30, now this is not rigid where they pass this out in school, by the time you hit 30, and it's not something rigid, it's loose. But by the time I've read articles from Ghanaians, I talked to them and I merged it all together. By the time you're 30 and you're not married yet or have somebody serious, you look that funny. Not like they're looking at you gay. I'm just saying, well, what's wrong with you? Because this is a family-oriented society. And men do cheat. Men have things going on the side. I'm not saying the women accept it, but they understand the nature of a man. And that's why they're all in and taking care of their man to keep him from doing what he's doing. Now, it's not like, he's going to do it anyway, right? But the main thing is you can't go to a shootout with a gun that don't have no bullets. You know what I mean?
Well, Lance, they understand in that culture that there is a culture where women and men need each other.
Exactly. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And they're so committed. You know what I mean? So here's what she said again, Raisa. Honestly, in my opinion, there's nothing prettier than a pretty black woman. I don't appreciate women. I would never trade places with looking down on me because black men hate me. See, you think black men hate you? See, there's maybe
it's the black men that she associating with.
That's what I'm trying to say. Look, Race, I'm not putting you down. You've been listening to me for a long time, so that gets brownie points with me.
That's
right?
why I said maybe.
But I'm just going to be real. It seems as though you've been through something. There's an edge to you that you have. You're intelligent, but there's a storm brewing inside of you. There's something going on. You know? Let me Gifty said a comment here. So does the brother get flacked by sisters when he's out with his Filipino wife, but he's not in America?
Yeah. Sometimes when she's here, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It's just one of those situations. You know, but in most cases, you know, I try to treat all people with mutual respect. So even if I be with my wife and we may go somewhere and there's a sister may be working, I still treat her with the same respect I would treat my wife. Most of the people, I will say this to give a little bit more clarification to her to the comment. Most of the people that I have gotten slack from tended to be sisters in the hood, so to speak.
I can roll with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ones who have a broader mindset, you see, because it's almost like a rejection thing. Like they feel rejected because you're with, and again, I'm all for black love, but I'm all for real love. You see what I'm saying? And we know by the way you speak, you're a level-headed brother. You never came here in the chat room or on the show and had resentment toward black women. You know what I mean? And the thing is,
black.
I myself have taken a lot from black women who I may not have known, but it's in public. Look, driving a bus, I used to get all kind of, well, you're just a bus driver. That's all you do. That's a job that I do to get money. At the time, what I do, sit here and not do anything at all, but you're going to judge me because I drive a bus?
And you
I knew how to rock that money. But yeah, but look, what's helping me to build this house is that bus pension. I know what to do with money. I can take $5, make it look like 50. And I'm willing to sacrifice and eat lean, do whatever. I'm that guy who can do that. But you didn't see that attribute. You saw the uniform and think I'm a typical whatever, because a lot of bus drivers, hey, mama, what's going on? They trying to lay it with everybody. right? So you see me, you're going to judge me and say that to me. I used to get that a lot. There are women that I know that are very lonely right now. And I'm not saying this is all of them, but they, you know them from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and they had this funky attitude, and now they're lonely, but they got their good job, but they're lonely, right? So that shows you the money you make is not an attractant, it's the respect and the love, because I will take, and I'm saying, I know I'm married, I'm saying this as a man, aside from marriage, right? I would take a woman who doesn't make much at all, but she's sincere. We believe in each other's, the attributes we have, our goals, the ability to have sacrifice, because nothing's sweeter than a woman who is by your side, not one who's going to take mess. You shouldn't be the kind of man who want to dish out mess to your woman, right? But nothing's perfect. You will have disagreements, but he loves you and you know it. She loves you and you know it. There's no better feeling. I don't care if you make 6 figures. I don't care if she make $25,000 a year. I'll feel more at home for the love that she has to give me with that $25,000 that we both contribute. And if I made more, it still goes into the pot. They don't think, oh, my money and your money. Now, at first, if we don't know each other, we get to know each other. I'm not saying to pour our finances together, but more and more when we know, that is the word commitment. The word commitment don't mean half-ass. Commitment means all in. And how many people, male and females, are willing to go all in? And if you say, well, I make this amount of money, that doesn't reflect your value. The amount of money that you make, whether you're a man or a woman, that does not reflect your value. Because you might, as a woman, I'm not saying this to all women, I'm saying you might be whorish in your ways. And the man can't trust you. He might be whorish in his ways, and you can't trust him. Who is going all in for the commitment to ride or die? Why is it conditions now? Because as you, I'm gonna talk to some of these modern women. When you get older, you're gonna feel jacked up. It don't mean you have to go get a bum, but treat people right, and the right man will come to you. But if you have this armor on you and this edge on you, it ain't gonna happen. And as you get older, you're gonna look back on your life. And it's for some people not to be married. I understand that. It's for some men who don't want to be married, and it's just not in them. That's kind of far and few between. In a perfect world, the way we had it before, we went through the civil rights movement, all this stuff in the 50s and the 40s, and the lynching and slavery, and we were each other's heaven. What happened to that? Now we got to come home if we're shacking up with a woman, not married, or made the wrong decision. We're not compatible, and go home to more hell than we get on the outside world. The world beats up on us anyway, and we got to come home to that. But I make 6 figures. I don't care about that. I'm going to get a good retirement. I have it in my house. Well, sit up in there. Start investing in cats. Start investing in that rocking chair. Because when you get to a certain age, dating is harder. Many of us have scars on us that we're set in our ways, male and female, and it's harder. And when you're encrusted with this exterior of toxicity, it's a repellent. You see? Because see, when you know yourself, and for the young ladies out there who are looking for the husband and the men who are looking for the wife, take your time. The knockout will come. It's like boxing. If you go into the ring in the first round just looking for the knockout, swinging, ain't hitting nothing. By the time the 12th round comes, you didn't build up no points. And the next guy who been tapping you light, he gonna win an easy decision. Take your time, because I know women who would sit there with their regrets. And at 61, there's more behind me than there is ahead of me. Unless I'm going to be 123 years old. I can do it. I don't look bad at halfway the point, right? But the bottom line is, those who know themselves sincerely, those who have cleaned the toxicity up, because we all got toxicity on us. We all been in that dumpster, in that garbage can called America. Things passed down, things seen and unseen, spiritual stuff. Talk to me, brother.
Brother Lance, we have monsters and we have monstrosities. I look at myself as a monstrosity, meaning I'm not quite what I should be. You know, I'm going through a process as a human being. But the monster is
Yes.
somebody who will go out there, beat a woman up, take her money, do something, take something else against, her desire and her
Yeah.
wishes, and
Mm-hmm.
hit her upside the head and leave her for dead. You see,
Yeah.
I think one of the things, two things. One, my mother always taught me. She's no longer with us, but she always taught me. She said, like those who like you. Because we used to have these kind of conversations when we used to talk, about, being involved with somebody from somewhere else. And she said, son, always remember, like those who like you. And I have never forgotten about that. Secondly, I think when somebody mentioned about PTSD, I think that we as men and women, but we have men, we have to understand when we have daughters, we are the prototype of the type of man she's going to go looking for in terms of a life partner. And that's why as men, we have to be careful on how we raise girls. And we also need the support of the mother in raising girls, because the first man that a girl loves to learn to fall in love with is her father. He's the first man. And the example that we establish for our girls, it can be an asset or it could be a liability in terms of who is the man that she's going to select. So we, as men, we have to be involved in that. And when guys come over, like my daughter, she's in elementary school, about to go to high school. But I tell her, if somebody came over my house and wanted to meet my daughter, you got to come through me. It ain't no, I'm just going to take your daughter. I'm like, no, and I'm going to interrogate her. I'm going to have 1,001 questions. Well, young man, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your family. And I teach my daughter, never open up your legs to a man that you're not married to. Because guys out here, men, Lance, we know men, because we men.
Yep.
We know how men are. And we know a guy he come in all soft talking. Yeah, baby. Girl, you so beautiful and everything. And woo, 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 woo. And we know, because we know men. And we know what men will say, because we know how men are. And we know what men will say. Not all, but we know men as men. Women,
Right.
Women know women.
Right.
So men, we know men. We knew some guys that, yeah, man, they knew how to they knew how to work that tongue, man. And they would go say something to her, and before she know it, they didn't ghost her. More even left her with a baby, because he told her what she wanted to hear.
Right.
You see, but when a father is involved in a daughter's life, it's less likely that to happen, because the father is going to, if he loves his daughter, he's going to interrogate the hell out of him. Young man, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your family. Young man, where do you work? Have you ever been in jail? Do you have a felony? And either two things is going to happen. Either one, he going to stay, or one, he going to get the hell out of there. He say, forget this. I'll go find another victim.
Like there's
He's
this
going to
woman,
go find another victim.
this young lady, I was a teenager. And I was in high school or middle school one. First time got over to the lady's house. I was just going to take her to the movies early in the afternoon. Have her back before the sun go down. She didn't say that I was going to do that.
Right.
First thing she said, she introduced herself and introduced myself. I was in the living room with her. She let me sit down. You stand right there and let me just talk to you a little bit, young man. First thing she asked me my family name and what does your father do? And what does your mother do? You know what I mean? You all religious? You all this? You all that? And then she hit me with this. Young man, where are you employed?
There you go.
Right? Yeah. And she went down the list. I didn't have no reason to run, because I wasn't really like in the hitting and quitting and all that stuff. I had experiences and stuff like that, and I had active experiences with others. So it wasn't like I had to just use this woman, the young lady.
But she was probably somebody that you really liked. She was probably somebody you really liked.
Exactly. But like I said, just like Sister Gifty said, we're both victims of PTSD, post-traumatic slave syndrome, and guilty of self-hatred and being angry at each other. And everything that I've noticed that we go through, our hang-ups, can be traced back to childhood and something that we're still struggling with, really and truly. And we put up the persona of someone else to be that stronger person to defend us that we didn't have, and or that never knew that we were hurting like we were. You see what I mean? So all of this stuff is messed up, and it's by design because it keeps us against each other.
True.
Black love is black love is black love, even if you marry somebody from Africa, Caribbean. In love first, man. There was a white woman, an old white woman. She just had a stroke. In all her other TikTok videos, she was speaking normal, everything like that, no problem. She had a stroke. She's like, I'm not letting this stroke stop me from talking to the people I love out here so much. And it was very touching, right? So I have grown instead of saying, look at that old white devil or whatever, you know what I mean? And I was never really saying it like that. But I knew what to expect in society growing up and being a big and strong, but smart at the same. See, they didn't mind me being big and strong when I was younger. When they saw that I was big and strong and smart, critical thinking, you know, I'm a threat. Don't walk around with a book in your hand. Oh, can I ask you what book is that you're reading? You go to biography of Malcolm X? Oh God, here's another one.
You on the train in New York, and you got a book in your hand.
Exactly.
On the Long Island train, and they're looking like, oh, what is he reading? What? Wretched of the earth. What? How Europe underdeveloped Africa. What? Walter Rodney's what? How Europe underdeveloped Africa.
Exactly.
Good looking, boys. What's that ISBN number? What's the ISBN number to that book?
Exactly. Getting all close up on you. Or
you about to get off the train and leaning over. They're about to get off because you sitting by the door, and they about to get off and they lean over. What chapter is he on?
Like a drone flying over you.
Like a drone.
I used to get the ones on these jobs when we come back on the weekend. Hey, Lance. Because see, really, I never opened up like that on certain jobs, right? After I was under corrections, any little thing, I drove the bus and that was it. I did little things, me and Mr. Scurv, but it wasn't like that. But when I was driving the bus, it was strictly business. Because some of the guys, hey, man, I hear these girls on the bus talking about you. Was it Monday now? Yeah, the weekend's all right. I know you tore something up. I said, what? I said, I had a project in my house where I was scrubbing the floors down and my hands got a little calluses on it, whatever have you. But that's about the only tearing up I did. Right. Or if they see you with a young lady, they think automatically that y'all are sleeping with each other.
Yeah,
they think happens. That. Even here, because it's so conservative here, even here, the women, see, growing up in New York City, nobody cared. And when I went down south, oh, yeah, I think he messing with him. Out here, there's no chance for anybody thinking that because men and women here, even when they're attracted to each other, they're like on some old, in the prison yard whispering something so the guard don't hear. Oh, listen, this is my number right here. Call me later on, right? And the body language doesn't show nothing. Okay, I'll call you later on. And later on, they might even be having sex. Nobody's going to know. When you're in the street, they're really, unless it's somebody you grew up in your little tribe or whatever. But me, when people talk to me, a lot of other women, oh, I know that a brony is going to try to mess with her. Why do you think that? Women are half the population. So I can't talk to half the population because they got a vagina? Like it's like going through a toll booth and you got the easy pass or the e-pass where the thing swings open without you slowing down. I just get near you and the legs fly open. Come on. And if a lot of the men here, a lot of them, me being here, and it's not all of them, but it's a lot of them that feel funny if I'm talking to a Ghanaian woman on a regular basis. Like when I was at the apartment before we came into the house, it's a little street there, they got little shops and whatever. And so when Mr. Scurv went back to America when her father passed away a couple of years ago, I would go down and we both knew the owners of the shops. And so they would be like, oh, come on out. Because it didn't look bad because we were in front of everybody. And there was this one guy who did work for us at the house in the very beginning when we started building. He came up to me one day because we had problems with him. He was trying to just milk money out of us and I had to straighten him out. And he didn't like that. So one day I'm talking to two women over there. They know each other. We all know each other. And the man knows we all know each other.
He
Hey,
told Miss
hey.
Scurv.
Well, no, this no, right? No, this he ain't said it because she would have ripped him up, right?
Hmm.
But this the BS he came with. You are cheating. I have video on the phone right here. You are cheating. So I use reverse psychology on it. I said, well, this is Africa, man. This is Ghana. You know, I got a wife and I got 4 other ones. You didn't know that? He was mad. I said, listen, what kind of thing is this? I'm gonna use some words now, not bad words, but listen.
Right.
Why are you worried about my dick? You should be looking to get your
Hmm.
dick wet. You shouldn't even be concerned. That's gay, man. What you worried about me?
Yeah.
Cheating, you cheating. I have video. I said, what was I having sex in the street?
Hmm.
When I go home in my bedroom, my windows are covered.
Hmm.
So why are you worried about it? He was mad. I am going to tell your wife. I said, so she can laugh in your face and smack you. And if you dare raise your hand back, we're gonna lock horns.
Hmm.
Yeah, weirdos, dudes. And this is a whole different subject. I might talk about that maybe tomorrow or whatever.
Right.
Dudes who worry about what the next dude is doing. Stop
Yeah.
dick watching, man. It may not
Yeah.
even be about that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of beautiful women that follow me. There's a lot of dudes who follow me. I got a sizable white following. I got a sizable gay following. Does
You
that
know,
mean
Lance,
I'm bending over?
you might have to do a show on polygamy.
Oh yeah, I've done it before. I'll do it again because I've lost a lot
Uh,
of shows. I'll do it again.
right.
I'll do it again because a lot of dudes go into the whole polygamy thing because it's just a sex thing for them.
Yeah.
See, traditionally, when a man has more than one wife, this is on paper now. He better have the wherewithal to be able to take care of each wife. It can't be just a sex thing. In America, the dudes, yeah, man, I hear you can have more than one wife. Well, you better not only have money to take care of them, but the wisdom and the vision. Because if you
Yeah.
have it's not like it's a damn harem. You come home and if you got 5 wives, that's 10 butt cheeks looking in your face every night, and you're gonna pick one
Yeah.
or all y'all laying up in the bed together, and you hear the theme from "Good Times." No, it ain't like that.
You
You have
you
to.
know what I was just gonna say, Lance, you could theoretically have a situation. I'm saying theoretically, where you have a
Right.
man, and let's say he's financially well off financially, and he has two wives.
Right.
One, she's got
Right.
her own place. They all have separate. These not these. One, she has her own place. Now you can have one, and the woman, one wife lives under the same roof with the man, but yet
Right.
you have another woman. She don't want to be out here dating. She don't want to be out here dealing with different men that coming in and out of her life, and that
Right.
she could literally say, "Hey, we are co-wives with this one man."
It's
Co-wives.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's happening.
It's co-wives because in reality, each one of these women want their space. So do you honestly think the woman you there at the house where she want to be looking up every day, seeing you every day, day in, day out, day in, so
Right.
that the woman
Cat fight.
A, wife A, she have her days where you with her, and the other one have their days, and whatever she needs, what things she need to be done, it could be that she may need her cable worked on, the cable person, and it's good that when she's there, a man is there to deal with the cable man, because you don't really want to have people coming in your house, in and out of your house.
That's right.
That
That's
you're
right.
not married to, because see, it takes a man to stop another man. I have heard of women, you be working out in the gym and you say, "Excuse me, I was noticing that you was over here working out and everything, and woo woo woo, and I thought I'd come over here and introduce myself to you. I've known you exercise." And you try to talk to her, she said, "Well, I have a husband, or I have a
Right.
boyfriend." And then you say, "Oh, okay, well, it's all right. Well, well, thank you. You enjoy the rest of your day," even though she just made that up.
Exactly.
She don't have no
Exactly.
boyfriend. She's not married. But what she understood psychologically, she had to make a man up in her mind to stop another man from approaching her, because only a man can stop another man. So what I'm saying
That's
is,
right.
even though the one woman sister that may have her own place, that the co-wife, she can still get the benefit of having a man in her life, and that
Right.
things that needs to be taken care of with her that she would normally take care of if she had a husband living under the same roof with her. Because I
There you go.
remember Sherazad Ali talked about this years ago. And I remember women was just jumping up and down, hollering and screaming and pulling their hair out. And now as I see it, it's really starting to come to that, because a lot of women, who really wants to die by themselves? Who really wants to die?
Nobody.
Who wants to really be alone? No, I mean, it's not human. We are created to be interactive with other human beings.
Right. We're social beings.
You know? Right. And it's the cultural situation that has created the situation. So,
There you go.
as long as a man is fair and just in his dealings, and all these three individuals, they have an understanding of what's going on here. If it's okay with them, I don't have a problem with it.
Right. And see, here's the thing. Those who may have a problem with it, they in it anyway. Because homeboy's slipping around the corner and she don't know it. You understand? So if you're intelligent, and yes, the woman has to have her own space, because the way it's done, supposed to be, you're supposed to have a home for that one woman. It may be nearby where they can help each other with the children. And when one has a child, they take it that's my child too. We know what womb it came out of, but it's more to it than, okay, we agree that he gonna come lay with me and lay with that one. No, you taking care of all of them. You're giving them wisdom. And really and truly, what I always say is that a man, and let's take America, should be able to give his man energy to supplement a woman and a decent woman, not Shanae who just laying up with everybody.
Right.
But a decent woman who maybe y'all are not having sex, but she needs a man around to come around sometime and help the sons with male things, because she can't do it.
True.
You see what I mean? So we need to put our male energy where it should be. I'm gonna say a funny comment that's off of Instagram right now, because we're live on Instagram. Gamer G says, ladies hate passport brothers because in America, ladies want regular guys to be their backup plan for their retirement. That's so funny, because out here, I have friendships with both sexes. I know dudes out here I'm a little closer with on the business tip, on the network tip. There's wonderful things that we're going to be doing, right? And I know young ladies who know me from social media. They know Mr. Scurv. And I'm, like when I did, like I mentioned it before, when I did the pool party, and the one who followed us, we met them on the van that time. We kept in contact, and this was when Mr. Scurv was gone, when her father, with the funeral. And so she said, well, listen, I know you're over there by yourself. And it wasn't like, oh, you're by yourself, so come around over here. Because she's mad cool, right? She's not like that, this chick. She said, well, listen, I know you're over there. Could you do me a favor? I said, sure, what? Well, could you bring your camera and videotape my girlfriends? And it was no lesbian business as far as she's concerned. But my girlfriends, they're having a pool party. It's one of their birthday. And just, they're going to act crazy now. But just go ahead and, they're going to be in the bathing suits. They got nice bodies. Just, do the camera thing with them. And I'm not shy. I let them know, like, how do you want me to do this? I'm not going to have the camera stuck on your butt, or whatever. But if you want butt shots and you are cool with that, and that's the level you want, then I'm not just saying it's butt shots, but just the camera's going to get all of you. And they were acting up. Come to find out, they were bisexual and lesbians, which you have to be undercover out here with that. Because the way they would touch us, wait a second. Yeah, one girl was swimming up behind the other one and pulled out her titty. I had to edit it out. And then they were smacking each other between the legs, tapping, one bending over, and they were hit. I'm like, oh my God. But they felt comfortable around me. And my friend initially, she wasn't with it, but those were her friends and co-workers, right? So when I put up the edited version, which did include some butt shots and different things, because one girl was like, look at her butt, get it on camera. I'm like, what the heck? Like dudes at the strip club. I was like, okay.
Get it.
I mean, it wasn't like it was a bad sight, but I wasn't going to jump on it or whatever. So,
Lance,
yeah.
Hi, tribal sister. How are you? Tapping her on the butt. Hi, tribal sister.
Right, but they saw I was mad cool that I wasn't like, hey girl, what's up with that? We this the resort now. We can get a little room. All of us go up in it. I wasn't coming like that. And when they see that, like when I was used to take around the strippers, when they see that, it's like, oh damn, I'm not gonna come at you like like most men. I will tell,
Mhm.
oh, how I look. Oh, you look good, and you this. And before when I used to do personal training as a bodybuilder, I can look at a woman's body as a physique. It doesn't always have to be a
Mhm.
lust way. And women
Mhm.
ask me for assessments that way because I know my stuff. I don't look like it no more, but I know my stuff.
Mhm.
I said, well, you
Mhm.
know, you need to get a little more hamstring here. Your rear end has a really nice shape, but it's not, needs to be a little more firmer. And this is what you can do, and this is what you can do with your diet, whatever, without, damn, girl, yeah, I help you out, but I got to sample them goods. Look, I done sampled so many goods in my life. What the hell?
Mhm.
That's all
Vince,
I'm going to be
Vince,
about?
Vince Gironda.
Yeah, Mr. Hunter. Oh, man. You know your bodybuilder, man. Yeah, for real.
The slide curl.
Exactly. Exactly.
The
Oh,
slide
man.
curl. Wow. You know what, bro, Lance? I remember. I should save this for like whenever you do that polygamy show. But I knew a sister. She had her
Talk to
master's
him.
degree, and she was thinking about going to get her PhD. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, intelligent, sister African, into the African, the coach, the Dr. John Henry
Mm-hmm.
Clarks and the Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan Van Sertima's, and I mean, she met these people who write these books and stuff. So she go to the lectures and everything. And one day she came out and told me that she wouldn't mind being a co-wife.
A lot of people have expressed that to me and said that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah, and
see,
she,
but
because
that's a
money and all that.
solution
Yeah,
in some
because
situations. And,
mm-hmm.
and the powers that be don't want that
No.
because now we are empowering ourselves financially. Others will
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, it's a sex thing. No, it's not just that. Because if
Mm-hmm.
I had several apartment buildings, right? And there were some
Mm-hmm.
sisters out there who were really out of shape as far as their finances concerned, just enough to make it. I would get these sisters and some of the brothers who had a proper mind, and okay, I'm gonna give you this space in a giveaway. So the
Mm-hmm.
little money you make, you can save and do a little more, but you all have to help each other, right?
Right.
So don't mean I'm gonna come knock your door at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, this is part of the rent payment. It's a righteous mentality that has to be able to handle that. And in times of war, where we're losing our brothers, times and look, we are in a war
Mm-hmm.
already. So if we
True.
alter it and we're not so much against each other and we nurture each other and support each other, the female energy is a beautiful thing. It doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
penis has to be in vagina. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we enjoy each other on different levels and even cohabitate in certain ways that are unique, but we need that we can get on our feet better? The stress of living in America and living in the UK and these places where the other is too much. And we,
Mm-hmm.
we jump to the beat of their drummer. Now, I'm not saying,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is the answer for everybody, but really and truly, it can be an answer. And it doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be just sexual. Look, if I care for you and you're a woman and I have a home that's so big with a lot of rooms and I see you out there damn near begging or sleeping in the street, I know you're decent and not on drugs. Why am I not going to let you come? Maybe you can help Mrs. Scurv in the garden. Maybe you can help me with a little business I'm trying to start. You're another body, but you're not just a body, but you're somebody who, if given the leg up and the hand up, could be very valuable where you should be. But the system would rather have us disjointed, separated, and thinking about survival where we can't go after our dreams. If we unite, we can go after our dreams. But it just seems that there's something about us embedded in us from all of this trauma that even when we try to
Mm-hmm.
do something, we mess it up. We don't talk to
Well,
each other. We hate each other. We find reasons to be against each other. Go ahead, brother.
well, I said, Lance, a lot of that again has been programming. Like I said before, you see something pop up in the society that you never saw before, and that started to have influence on the people. Like they say, don't blame it on the sunshine, don't blame it on the moonlight, don't blame it on the good time, blame it on the boogie. So
Right.
you see something come in, and you like, wait a minute. Then people start latching on to that something, but what the people didn't know, that's been put out there for them, and it puts a counter-revolutionary ideas
It does.
into the hearts and the minds of the people. Now, this is something I want to ask you because you talked about unity. Is it true that
Right.
Marcus Garvey he came to the United States because he couldn't get the support in Jamaica that he wanted. So he had decided to say, because I have his book, Philosophies and Opinions,
Right.
but I only have his perspective as he was teaching the U.S. Not so much. It's just a side note,
Right.
side question.
I heard that, and I had the blessing of speaking to a Jamaican woman who was way up in age, and this was I was had to be like 12 years old, 11 years old, and she was stressing Garveyism, and she had the actual papers. It was some type of registration paper that I'm not sure if he handled it or not with his own hand, but she met him, and she was younger. Okay, she wasn't his same age because but she was so. I mean, she was so convincing on him and the movement. And I know with a lot of Jamaicans, because I know Jamaicans, because that's in my family, a lot of them, especially the modern day Jamaican, they talk the good talk, but there's a lot of resentment. And I can understand if Marcus Garvey had to leave from there, and I'm not sure, but it doesn't surprise me. And it sounds logical with his trajectory, because he went and did what he had to do to get the job done. But this woman, I'll never forget her. And she was like a grandmother, and she was from Jamaica. And I remember she came over to my house one day, and I wrote an article about her, just a nostalgic memory of an article. And I remember I had this song, Misty Blue. I forgot how it goes all the way. Misty Blue. And she loved that song. And after telling me about Marcus Garvey, she said she wanted to come inside and hear it. She loved that song. And I remember her dancing to it, just waving her hands around. And she was in her own world. And I was thinking about that. And after she talked about Marcus Garvey to me about 2 hours and went inside and danced, I played the record over about 5 times, and she had a tear in her eye. And she said, "Thank you so much for listening to me. And thank you so much for playing the song. I love you so much. You're a good boy." And she went across the street, and I saw these cars the next morning. She passed away.
Wow.
And it was so special the time she spent that I had to write an article on it. Right? And the funny thing about it is our families, that Jamaican family, and my family, my mother's American, my father's from Jamaica, but he wasn't no bumble clot, weed, whatever, blood clot, he wasn't that type of dude. Them older guys, my father was born in 1916. And that's something, my father was born 100 and something years ago.
Wow.
So
that's something.
He was sitting out there in the front yard watering the plants. And the husband to that woman, he was sitting out there, and they started looking at each other. I was there when my father looked. It shocked him. The man across the street looked, and they both started walking toward each other. My father had the hose locked. He didn't just drop the hoses spraying all over the place. I had to cut it off. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? I thought they was going to fight or something. Then they busted out shaking hands. Wouldn't you believe that man across the street that moved across the street with his family from Jamaica, my father and him were classmates in the late 1920s.
Wow.
Right? Come to find out from the granddaughter that our families went back to the 1880s when they all attended the same church. I found out today that many Jamaicans that came from Ghana, they have a town, I believe the Ghanaian man might have got it messed up, but it was called Akrapong or something like that. Well, guess where I live near? I'm not going to say it on the line, the exact town.
Right.
But I'm near Akrapong. I can look out my window and see it. So things are so mysterious, and that's why we got to get back on track to the original way. We got to get back on track to the original way. And all of this new filtered, new stuff that's injected into our mind will never feel right. The women will never feel right. The men will never feel right. And I'm not making excuses for the ones who are just looking for butt and sex. But those men who go abroad, who are decent men, who want to build, the ones here in America who are all about the American mentality, you can't build with them because they're too confrontational. They're going to rate you
Mhm.
according to the corporate white man who is a CEO that she met at the party and she was so impressed, and you got to be like that. No, those men are seeking something that you can't usually find with the American mentality.
Mhm.
Some of these women here, and not all of them, because like I said,
Mhm.
the smartphone has messed their minds up. But some
Uh-huh.
of these women here, they, and I'm saying it's decent. I'm not saying there's a dude
Mhm.
who look at their butt and that's it. They are
Mhm.
so beautiful inside
Mhm.
and out. You have a lot of them down in the city that go to the
Yeah.
clubs. Nah, they messed
Right.
up. They might as well be
Right.
in America, right? But
Right.
some of them who are so kind and loving and they'll do stuff for
Mhm.
you. Not like and
Mhm.
they ain't weak now. You can't cross the line
Right.
with them. They'll get up in your backside. But they
Right.
give you this immediately as a
Mhm.
courtesy. And if you don't
Mhm.
reciprocate in your respect of them, you won't get it again. In America, it seems like many of the modern women, many, not all of them,
Mhm.
most of them
Mhm.
who have that mentality, they ain't giving you nothing. It's about how
Mhm.
much you make. I got my house. I got my job. I don't need no man. There women who told me they don't need no man. Then why don't you cash your vagina in? Not that you're only there for sex, but cash your femininity in. And many have given it up because they bring the
What? What?
masculine energy. I don't want to lay it with no woman who got masculine energy. Talk to me like
Well,
some dude and talk down to me
didn't
all
I say
aggressive.
earlier? Didn't I say earlier that people don't want to admit that they don't need each other anymore?
There
When you
you
said I
go.
don't need
There
no
you go.
man, it's a part of the problem. But just to digress real quick, like not to get too far off the
Yeah,
subject. You said that there was
yeah,
some resentment. There was some resentment about Garvey and his movement from some of the Jamaican
yeah,
people.
yeah,
What
yeah.
do you think that resentment comes from?
It comes from the slave master and the white culture and us being made to not love each other because I found out from several sources that
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica, when those who were enslaved landed there, that was the buck breaking capital, the station, before they distributed the others to Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, all on
Mm-hmm.
South America, Belize, and all that stuff. It just wasn't the Caribbean islands, it was all up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
to me, and that's a whole different subject, this is why
Mm-hmm.
I find that there are many Jamaican men, especially recent, and they could be 50 and 60 years old. That means
Right.
recent, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got an issue with manhood. Be a man, be a
Mm-hmm.
man, have to be a man. And a lot of them won't even cry. I've been on
Mm-hmm.
shows, man. I spoke about something emotional about my mother, father, or somebody I loved. And I'm not sitting here conjuring up tears like an actor. Tears came
Right.
down. I sat there and
Mm-hmm.
sat there. It wasn't showing off. One time I got up
Mm-hmm.
and had to leave.
Right.
I am emotional, but not out of control. I'm passionate about life. And
Right.
I'm so secure in my manhood, I can cry in front of you when it's emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But see, even when it came time for anger, I cry. So when I was a little boy and
Mm-hmm.
get mad, oh, he's scared of you.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna get beat up at 3 o'clock when the bell rings. And I'm crying because I'm
Mm-hmm.
mad and I'm gonna get him. And I'm sitting here crying and beating the dude down. You know what I mean? So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when I'm I'm twisted that way. I'm not twisted, but
Right.
I'm just saying I don't have those filters. Now I am tough. I could be a tough cookie, but I'm very
Right.
sensitive. I'm basically an empath. I like nice
Mm-hmm.
peace and quiet. We all get along. When you cross me
Mm-hmm.
really bad, then the monster
Mm-hmm.
comes out. I don't like
Right.
being the monster because the monster don't want to
Right.
go back in the cage. When I get really
Right.
angry, I can't sleep for three
Mm-hmm.
days. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But with these Jamaican men, a lot of them see when and this is not all Jamaican men, right? But I
Right.
found that when you're secure in who you are, and many of them have this exterior bravado of, yeah, me I lick shot and what are you hiding? I'm not saying you're homosexual, but you're
Mm-hmm.
not secure in your manhood where you could relax and not have to play tough. I had a situation. I'm gonna tell it. I ain't gonna name no names.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Out here in Ghana, there have been individuals who have run up and down with my name in their mouth, following
Mm-hmm.
behind somebody else who was a fraud, running up and
Mm-hmm.
down all the Jamaican restaurants and gatherings. Not that that's all they talked about, but they wanted to make sure that I did not get popular here with everybody. I didn't come here to be popular. And as a matter of fact,
Right.
I never sought popularity. But for the record, no, I think I'm kind of popular. But that is not what I was going for.
Right.
But you have people who are envious of you for what you do and who you are and the light that you have. And so these jokers run up and down. All Jamaicans, don't even know. They looking at me, my feet looking all mad, screwing their face up. Well, if you're that kind of person who can run behind somebody else on their word and their lies, I don't want to be around you. I'm doing quite well. You see what I mean? So there's an envy. I had one dude tell me, "Oh, you're not in America no more. You don't need to do that stuff on YouTube," because he didn't want to see me do it because he ain't got nothing going on for him. That's just a hobby. See, if I was sitting here dependent on it for a livelihood, I'd jump out the window when they took the channel. But I wasn't making nothing no way.
Right.
I wasn't making nothing no way. I like the joy of the process. When I was preparing these banners, because you see I switched up on the banners, I made different banners. I was falling asleep. I'm like, I am not going to go to bed and not do this show. Plus, I was too lazy to change the date from July 5th to July 6th. But yeah, there's a lot of resentment. And then to go deeper, and this is look, once we talk about something, we go off the topic, it's cool. Once we put it down, if there's something you miss, just say, Lance, let's do it again. And I'll do it again. Right. I'm very flexible. Right. But I'll say this. Right. Many are brainwashed and have been brainwashed in Jamaica to think that America is the epitome, even though it's very close, right? Now Jamaica has gotten so Americanized and taken over by other people who have real power because they have the land, building the hotels, and they know that proximity to America as a tourist spot is wonderful. But a lot of Jamaicans have been pushed to the side. A lot of Jamaicans who have land up in the mountains, like Mrs. Scurv and her family, they're encouraged to come down to the city and get a job and get a nice little condo or apartment because that's the metropolitan modern thing to do. And they see it on TV and they jump to that because they want that look. They don't want to farm no more, a lot of them. So these people convince them to go down to Kingston to live, Montego, but more so Kingston. And they come over and take over and do farming and sell them back fruit that they don't have no more because they ain't growing it no more. You see what I'm saying? These people build hotels and make a private beach, and you, as a Jamaican, can't even go on that beach. But they're so caught up with the Americanized way of life, the bleaching of the skin, and I don't like the way I look in plastic surgery and those jobs. Yeah. And they're so hungry for it. They're so hungry for it that a lot of women will do anything to get there. Just like there are women here in Ghana and other countries, women here that I know personally, that they say and try to act like they're level-headed, but they're on social media. You know, they ain't showing their backside. They're ambitious, but they're trying to get men to do things for them and finesse them. There's a lot of finessing going on out here. You know, and really and truly, I'll tell you, don't think when you go down to like say places like East Legon or Osu, where they have all the clubs and the restaurants, and they have some beautiful homes right out there. And I had the wonderful experience of these folks that were having a birthday party for the father, and they said, "We're not leaving until we meet you." And I'm like, and I didn't know them, right? But we talked, and they invited me over. It was legit, and we had a good old time like we knew each other, and it was real love, right? And so, you know, I did my little speculations with it. I said, man, these people are decent. It was so this is about 2 weeks ago. They were so decent and loving, and the food and the place was nice. Everybody who was there, we were talking like we knew each other for years, right? They were in the bodybuilder when they were younger. They were playing music from the early 80s. They're from the UK. Big shout out to y'all. I loved it. And that's what I needed. And they were so refreshing. And why can't we all act like real family? Family is not being related by blood. Family is loyalty, kindness, respect. That's family. You get a lot of people who hold on to this thing about, yo, it's blood, it's blood. But you got different spirits. You are DNA sharers. And it's wonderful when DNA sharers have the same spirit. But most families, I know a lot of Jamaican families, are jacked up. And yes, American families, black families, but with them, it's a certain resentment that they have. And there are different people here that they have a certain Ghanaian resentment when you come from America and they think you're living rich. Because like I said before, moving up here in the mountains, I've become that white man who gentrified in the black neighborhood. I'm not white.
Right.
But
Right.
because they think I
Right.
have
Right.
money,
Right.
or maybe built a house a little
Mm-hmm.
bigger, or the way I wanted that we designed it, oh, they got money. But it's your perception
Mm-hmm.
of money.
Right.
Because when you're
Mm-hmm.
homeless and broke in the street, that dude working at McDonald's getting paid with a check, he got money,
You
right?
know, a lot of these people, Lance, either you don't have enough money or you got too much. This
There
that's
you
what these
go.
people are.
But
This is the way these
but
people
the
are. You know.
right, but the intangibles are when you not only believe in yourself, but you know in yourself. Even when you take a
Mm-hmm.
loss,
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to be bent over after they took the channel. Oh man, what happened to Lance? Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
he just gave
And
it up and
just
quit. I'm
you
gonna be
wiped the dust
somewhere
off your
talking.
feet. You wiped the dust
Man,
off your feet, and you went back to work.
it was a gift. It was a gift because I'm not shadow banned no more. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it. I don't want no nut. I just want to do. I like what I do. I'm content. I
Mm-hmm.
do so many other things. It's not like I sit here all day or even then all the years. I used to work my tail off,
Mm-hmm.
driving the bus, doing a little gig with Mr. Scurv, doing other things, whatever it took, sacrificing. And those other little gigs we did, most often I was working 7 days a week and slamming 4 and 5 and 6 hour shows because I
Mm-hmm.
love the process. Because I've always been a talker around my friends. So
Mm-hmm.
when I got on this thing, I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out right now. I'm
Right.
hanging out on a
Right.
Friday night, Saturday morning, hanging out. I'm gonna wake up late. I got
Mm-hmm.
things to do tomorrow. I don't have to get up as early. And I'm soon,
Mm-hmm.
maybe within 30 minutes, gonna wrap it down or something by the 3 hour mark, just not to burn it
Right.
out because we'll be back again tomorrow. And we're gonna do
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours a day on different
Right.
topics, and we're gonna keep
Mm-hmm.
it interesting. But there are people out there that don't like you to be in your lane and the momentum that you have. And oftentimes they will see your destiny more than you will see it because your head is down, not down because you're depressed or broken down in your work, down
Mm-hmm.
under the hood, working on your engine. And they
Right.
see you going somewhere and they don't have nothing going on or whatever. And I got a lot of resentment because I am from America and I am the
Mm-hmm.
one talking the unity and stuff. And there are people who don't like that in you. Like who you
Right.
are trying to unify with me because you had it. Look, to a lot of Jamaicans that I know, I'm the privileged white boy from America. The
Mm-hmm.
way many of us will look at a rich white, they look at me that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird. It's weird.
Well,
Like I
well, you
said,
know,
there are men. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that, you know, when we talk about Marcus Garvey, we talk about a man who left. He went one place, left one place, and went to another place. And
Exactly.
I've heard his lectures. I heard his lectures that made its way to audio, and I have his book, Philosophy and Opinions, that his wife helped publish. And I'm listening to this man. I'm like, man, this brother was powerful. I mean, this was a
Exactly.
power when he got in front of that microphone and he started putting it. I said, man, this brother is oratory skills is off the hook, and I couldn't understand why is it that the people in Jamaica didn't listen to him, you know? And
Jesus,
sometimes,
white Jesus,
like, yeah, and
white
sometimes
Jesus
you
jacking it up all over the place. If you don't
yeah,
include the white
yeah,
Jesus, you
yeah,
got to apologize
yeah,
and bow down to the white Jesus, which
yeah. It's
really
just
is the
like
manifestation of the white man.
true,
But
true.
that's not the
That's
real
why. That's
Jesus, though,
why.
right?
Correct. It's the imposter Jesus. You know, like J.A. Rogers. J.A. Rogers was born in Jamaica. He came from Jamaican family, and he was the kind of
Hmm.
person that he didn't want to do the things that the traditional his family did. He wanted to do something different, and he started writing
Exactly.
all those books. And it's interesting because my father heard about him like in the 50s and like in the 60s when he walked into a black bookstore, and this brother was like, said, "Sir, can I help you?" He said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm looking for books that deal on our history as a people." He said, "Well, you're gonna have to go back to the beginnings." And he came up and he showed him J.A. Rogers' Sex and Race.
Wow.
And I still have my father's books. I still have the 3-volume book that he bought back in the
Beautiful.
60s. I still have them today.
Beautiful.
I said,
Beautiful.
this man laid it out, man. I'm like, he went traveled around the world, traveled up and down the U.S. as a Pullman porter. He would pay the man would pay white men to go in libraries to get books because black people couldn't go into the libraries at that time.
Mm, mm.
I said, man, this man did some work. He put the work in.
But see, that's what you have to do, and it has to be part of your DNA. And see, with many Jamaicans, especially some of them that are older, they do not want to upset the apple cart. You have to keep it within, almost like when they say, some of the Southern blacks, I don't want no trouble. I don't want to make, I got my government job. I got my mortgage in my house and my car, and I'm happy with that. I goes to work every day, and I ain't trying to talk about, see, that's the way I was received. Because when I moved down to Orlando in 2001, I didn't have no website out there. I didn't have no work out there. I started doing that stuff down there when I was working in the jail up at night late and working the night shift. I started doodling and drawing and talking. And once I started putting the stuff out there, I was still in corrections, and they started reading the stuff, and I became that dangerous Negro, right? So nobody wanted to associate with me because I was that dude who came down. And one dude told me one time, he would talk to pro-black stuff when he was around the pro-black people, the far and few between that were there. And he came out and said, Lance, you can't come down. I'm using his exact voice. You know, I imitate people good. I don't care if he's listening. Lance, you can't come down here and try to change things because, see, we got different sides of the track, and you're going to learn. As long as you stay on your side of the track, you ain't going to have no problem. But see, some of y'all New Yorkers, you come down, you want to live where you want to live, but there's rules to this thing. You just can't come here. You're going to have a lot of problems. So people started distancing themselves from me. I wasn't in there preaching to nobody or trying to convert nobody to be pro-black or whatever have you. It just came out. I carried it oozed out of me, even if I didn't say anything. And there were Klansmen that I worked with, straight up Klansmen. Who were speaking about that stuff. They weren't acting hateful because as officers, we're supposed to have each other back. But when I got deep, they felt comfortable to talk to me. And I interviewed, I don't mean on a recording, but in my conversation over the years that I worked there, I can tell you how a lot of them think. A lot of it's based on ignorance. I'm going to tell you one thing. I can say his name, but I won't say his name. He lived in Central Florida in Polk County. And then you have, oh God, what's the other one? A county between. He used to go way out in the country, and he lived out there, and he was a Klansman. And he was so ignorant. He sounded smart, but he was so ignorant. And after working with me for about maybe 8 months, almost a year, that man left the Klan, left the job, went to North Carolina. And I remember seeing him on Facebook sometime, and he was denouncing it. And I met this wonderful black man named Lance. I was like, what? I converted a man to be out of the Klan?
Wow.
I never jumped on him, though. I never did it in a way where some of the other people were like, man, get away from me. So I'm like, listen, I can't change you. I did. But I'm like, I just want to know how you got to that point. You know, we all bought comic books back in the day, but we wanted to know the origin of the Hulk, the origin of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. How did they get to be become who they are now? What made you like this? And a lot of times they grew up in that. And we undertake what was given to us, especially in religion or politics and our outlooks, is what we hear at home. And the first God to us is our mother and our father. So they're God. No kid says, oh, God, when they bust their knee in school and they're in the fight. Mommy, daddy. That's the first God. So when they hear these things, they take it as gospel and they defend it because it came from their parents who were their superheroes. And then you go out in the world, you compare, and you say, wait a second, something's different here. And then you begin to think on your own and you balance and weigh things out. But too many of these close-knit Jamaican families is incestuous. I'm not saying they're doing incest, and some are, right? Molestations and sex stuff. Oh yeah. It's deep. It's deep. There are a lot of them now who I know men, and it's men from all over. I understand that, but we're too much Jamaicans, right? You got that pressure to have that bravado and macho attitude. But when you grew up and they were messing with you, and men were messing with you, and they were sucking on your wee-wee, and it felt good, but you know what's wrong. Now you're struggling with that because you're struggling with that feeling of what you had first. And like I think we said it yesterday, your first sexual experiences are the things that come up and tap on your shoulder when you're at the
Mm-hmm.
point of orgasm, even when you're with a woman. You might be thinking
Mm-hmm.
about some dude, and then you feel you're all mixed up. That would drive me crazy. And it drives people crazy. You with a beautiful
You,
woman, and at the
you
point, look,
and,
and let's
and
get down in it.
thinking about a transformer.
Exactly, exactly.
She's like, "What's
Look,
wrong?
it's
Are
weird.
you okay?"
See, sexuality don't lie to you. You can't hide
Right,
it. You
right.
see, you can't hide it. It's like that song from back in the 80s. You can't hide your love. You can't hide your love, right?
Yeah, so
So,
you can't.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Let's look at it this way. We're talking adult now, we're not talking lewd.
Right.
A person is masturbating, right? They usually look at
Mm-hmm.
porn. But if they're not, the porn is in their mind. It could be something they
True.
saw on the pornography.
True.
Yes, Hope Rice just entered the building. The only Rice I
Mm-hmm.
F's with. Anyway,
I
right?
heard that.
Much love to your sister. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
so the dude is masturbating or the woman's masturbating. What triggers you off when you have the orgasm? It ain't the stock report that you read earlier. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
beautiful flowers outside the window. It's something you done did or something that you want to do or something you saw. It triggers you
Mm-hmm.
off. And if people would admit and say, okay, we're going to have a mind reading machine here and we're going to find out what you like and what triggers you off. Let me tell you something. 9 times out of 10 is stuff that they may be ashamed about because it might be considered real weird. There was a
Yeah.
lady that I knew that was a lawyer who lived around the corner from me when I first moved down to Orlando. And she don't mind me saying her name because she was online big time. I won't say her last name, but her name was Peggy, and she was a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She found me on AOL. We found out that we lived around the corner from each other, but it was a
Mm-hmm.
platonic connection. We didn't need
Mm-hmm.
to meet, and she was busy. So she called me, hey, Lance, what you doing? So and so. And we got into deep conversations. And so she told me, not out of nowhere, we got close, but it wasn't like, oh, we're going to get with each other. So we talked about sex and stuff. And so we were talking about some deep stuff. And she said, well, you know what triggers me off? I don't know how the hell I got like this, Lance. Look, I'm a straight woman. I do not fantasize about homosexuals. But every time I got that dildo and that vibrator and I'm taking care of myself, what triggers me off is to see two men having sex. And then I feel guilty
Mm-hmm.
about it. I can't figure out where it came from. I'm like, yeah, that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of, like I told you about the gasoline lady. She wanted
Right.
me to come over her house and rub gasoline all over myself at the pump and smell like that because she had a lover when she was 16 years
Did she
old. He was an old guy.
did she say she want premium or unleaded? Make sure you get the unleaded.
I think she wanted the good stuff.
She got it down.
I said, don't meet me at the
She
door
got it
with no
down.
match.
She said, super. She will, and don't bring no diesel either.
Exactly.
She wants the super unleaded.
She was super level. And you know what? How people can, they know perfumes or they know wines. She probably had to know her
Uh-huh.
gas. Oh, no. You went to Shell and that's not premium. No, we can't do anything. That's the one when I was in the van and the cops made us get out the van. And all I had was a t-shirt on because we were in there getting ready to do something. 15
Mm-hmm.
degrees. And a t-shirt,
Mm-hmm.
our hands were down. It barely covered me. Feet out, legs out.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, keep my hands up, lift my hands up. There's no secrets to the world. And
Mm-hmm.
people started driving by because it was a club around the corner. It was a traffic jam. And I got my hands up, freezing. The concrete was like cold and it stuck my feet there. I had to, like I was jogging in place with my hands up and my ding-a-ling jumping too. People in the car laughing. It was humiliating.
All right. Hands up.
And he said it with a smirk. He said it with a smirk. You know what I tried to do? I kept my hands on my side. I only bent my elbows with my hands up, my hands with my shoulders. Oh no, put them up.
We have another one. Over and out. That's the third one tonight.
Oh man. He was laughing at me.
You know when you talk about these fetish
Fetish, yeah.
believe it or not, especially like I've never been to Thailand, but I've heard that when we talk about these the Transformers, the passport bros. Oh,
mm-hmm.
well, the passport bros are getting into them too. they
Oh
they are
my God.
becoming yeah, they're becoming because
And I
you
know.
know, like yeah, because the U.S. Navy, with this whole thing with the China and Taiwan and the Philippines and Southeast Asian countries, they're
Right.
bringing in a lot of U.S. military. Like when I was there, I saw some Navy guys that was
Mm-hmm.
in country, and
Mm-hmm.
we had a situation about 10 years ago. There was this I think he was a Marine, and he was in the hotel with this transformer. Now he
Oh
claimed he
no.
didn't know. He claimed
Come
he didn't
on.
know he was, but
Men
the
know men.
guy,
I don't care how they do you up.
well, like I said, he claimed he didn't know, but the guy ended up killing this dude. He killed him. He took his face, shoved it down in the toilet, and killed him and drowned him into a toilet or something like that. But
Wow.
the Marine guy claimed he didn't know it was. But the point is, you have a lot of that out there going on in these Southeast Asian countries because some of these males, you know, it's an old saying: if you can't beat them, join them. So some of them are
Oh
like,
wow.
hey, if I can't make it as a man, I'll try to make it as a woman. And some of them,
Right.
that's what they're doing. I remember one time I was on a public transportation in the Philippines, and I was sitting at the back of the bus. This was like late in the evening because I was out running some errands, so I was on my way home. And this guy sat in front of me, and he turned around and looked at me and started blowing me kisses.
What?
And yeah, the young Filipino guy. He must have looked like he was maybe late, no 20s, maybe early 30s. And I'm
Right.
looking like, dude, you can't be serious. And he'll look forward, and he'd turn around and start blowing me kisses, and he'll look forward and turn back again. So what I did, I politely got up, went to the middle of the bus, and I sat down, right, in another seat. So then he got off at
Mm-hmm.
his stop, and eventually I got off at my stop. So I got home, I told my wife about it, and she was talking to some of her friends, and they said what she think is there are a lot of men like from Australia, men from the UK, men from Canada, even some from the US who get with these guys. And he said
Mm-hmm.
he was probably thinking that you were that type, and he was like soliciting himself,
Right.
you
Mm-hmm.
see. And when you didn't go for it, then I guess he figured, well, you know, this is, you know, not for him, you know. And that's when I
Right.
realized about this had to be like maybe 17 years ago. So that's when I started to really learn about guys coming from abroad dealing with men.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking it's just
That's
men
funny.
coming over dealing
They're
with the
coming
women.
from abroad.
Yeah, coming from abroad. That's what, because I was thinking that's the way my mind was. My mind was guys come here and they deal with the women. But I didn't know that there was another underground culture of foreign men coming over there to deal with the men.
But a lot of men don't want to do it when they got they got it in them, so they don't want to do that
Yeah,
stuff where they live. So they go
yeah.
somewhere else where they're a stranger and do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's out there. It's a big mess. So I would tell any guy, if you go over there, like I said, I'm not in the business of womanizing. Again, that's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about putting something together where if guys are looking to get married, I would say, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, if you're serious, then
Right.
these are the steps that you need to take when you come to places like the Philippines. I said, I don't know about Thailand because I've never been there,
Right.
but I said, if you
I
come to
heard
the
Thailand is
Philippines,
bad too.
oh
You
man,
know.
it's they just put out a warning, a public service announcement about men from the UK coming over there because they're having
That
all kind
bad,
of
huh?
problems. Yeah, it's
But see
that
what
bad.
happens. What makes it easier for them, the Filipino men, those people in that Vietnam and Filipino, Bangkok, whatever, because a lot of the men are born slender. And it's
Hmm.
easier to fool you. See, if you're a
True.
big bubba, 300 pounds, played football in college, you ain't fooling
Mike
nobody with your size
Mike
15
Tyson,
pump. Yeah, well, I'm gonna
big
fool them.
like
I'm gonna
Mike
do
Tyson.
get a little makeup on and put a little wig and whatnot, and I'm gonna fool them, and put a little hips and whatnot, and I'm gonna
See
get some
Mike,
heels. I'm gonna fool
see
you. I'm
Mike,
gonna go out there and
Mike,
spread
who
some
you
things,
fooling, Mike? You just
right?
like Mike,
Exactly,
who you fooling,
exactly.
Mike? Stop.
I'm a woman. I'm not Mike Tyson. I'm a woman. Right.
And I tell him, I was gonna go over there and do. He said, Mike. He said, Mike, stop playing, Mike. Mike, take that wig off and that dress. Who are you trying
Well, I'm
to
going to
fool?
tell you. I'm going to tell you. If you tell anybody this happened, I'm going to hurt you. I'm telling you. I'm going to drive the bone in the nose bone right into your brain.
He probably would too.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you're right.
Well,
the
you
men,
know what he admitted.
the men
You
are
know what he
small.
admitted to. You know what he admitted to, Mike Tyson. He admitted when he was a young boy in the street. I mean, he was young. He wasn't like right before he started having fights in the street. That men would come through and force him to perform acts on the men. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't Eddie Murphy get caught?
Didn't
Eddie Murphy get caught?
Trannies.
Yeah.
But that's an old New York thing we knew about. Everybody knew about that. You know, and let me tell you something too.
You talking about
There's a
Mike?
lot. Oh, no. Oh, not about Mike. I heard some things about him because I'm finding out that many people in the industry in boxing were saying how Customato was fruity. He was a little fruity. And so Mike Tyson's up there. I don't know. And they say, you know, not that Mike Tyson's gay. There was a rumor when he was coming up that when he won the championship, he was going to announce that he's the first gay heavyweight champ. That never happened. But he did say that when he was younger, he was molested a lot. And he said it. These strange men would come drive up and down the neighborhood and they solicit. I didn't want to be bothered. And, you know, somehow they get me in the car. You know, I was going to rip them off and do anything. And they forced me to suck their dicks. He said it. He did it on the show. Somehow, really? I know. How'd your head get there? You Mike Tyson. I don't care if you're 6 years old. You too strong. Right?
Right.
You too strong.
Like Mike Tyson, punch out, uppercut. Just do what you do naturally.
I'm telling you. But here it is.
Wow. But see, by you coming from New York, you are really just because you know the city and those boroughs. And see, we have heard stuff. Like I grew up in the Midwest, so we heard stuff, but we would just hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You see?
Look, put it this way: New York has had such a strong effect on me, and I'm always a New Yorker, but I'm not like stuck in a stagnant or whatever. Right. When I was in Orlando and now that I'm out here, I don't have dreams like, oh, I dreamt that I was in a different part of Accra and the places I know, or in Orlando. I never dreamt that I was in Orlando. Once I left New York, my dreams are in New York all the time. But look. Behind me, on the next block over, because I was on 134th Street and 135th Street had their houses and stuff. I told you I used to have that full frequency radio scanner. They had no cutouts. And for those who don't know, cutouts are where, say for example, certain sections of the frequency you couldn't get to. There were those in Radio Shack, and it was legal to do so. But they also had the imported scanners that had no cutouts that you can pick up the cell phone signals. You can pick up the cell towers, which you would probably hear a few seconds of conversation, or sometimes longer if the person stayed within the range of that tower. So that was entertainment for me. I mean, I'm not a weirdo, but that was real entertainment because I knew the people that were talking on their phones and what they were doing. I knew the housewife that would go get crack at night. I knew the lesbians across the street that thought nobody knew they were lesbians. I knew everything. So there's this gay dude that lived around the corner, and he was having another conversation with another gay dude. It was funny because they were spilling the tea on everybody. And what they were saying, hey, this is what they said. I'm not saying it, but this is what they said. This guy, his name was James, and he had a weird look. He looked like he had hawkish features. He was on drugs. He was always high, but he was bizarre. He was scary because we used to see him as little kids when he'd walking down the street looking all weird and whatnot. He just had a scary vibe to him, frightening, but he was gay. So he's on the phone talking. Yeah, you know, we all know about LL Cool J. No, he's not fooling anybody because I have friends that have been with him and so on and so on. And it wasn't like they were trying to tell straight people. They were having as a matter of fact type of conversation. But the thing was, when they started naming off the macho drug dealers in the neighborhood, how they like his skills, and they were naming names, and it was no doubt because I grew up with some of these guys. I'm like, what? And he was telling a dude that didn't really know the neighborhood. It was somebody from out of the neighborhood. So this guy was telling about his neighborhood, and he did drop some names. I was like, yo, for real? About the other guy who lived a couple doors down from me, who was about to get married in a few months, but he was talking to this other dude, and it's crazy. Like, this is how I'm gonna take it. There's nothing beating a man and a woman, but the way they talk to each other, these two dudes, I never heard a man talk to a woman that way, or a woman talk to a man that way. I was like, what the heck? And I grew up with this guy. And the little things he was saying were crazy. So I've seen the switch hitters. I've seen them, and people think, you'd never know. To each his own, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, I knew something. I was gonna say I knew something was up with LL because when he made that song, he said, "Sucker MCs, they make me sick. I'm so bad I can suck my own." And I'm like, why would somebody say something like that? And I was like, that sounds kind of moist.
No, because that's like some old coded message type stuff. Because
right. He said it in a song, in one of his songs.
Right. I'm a straight man, but if my back was flexible, at the end of the day, I'm not doing that because it doesn't dismiss it just because it's yours. You had a dick in your mouth.
Right.
I'm not even trying to have my own thing in my mouth. No way. I love it, but I don't love it that much.
Well, see, that's why I said when I talk to people from New York, I always like talking to them because they know, like the Village, they know this is a place exclusively for people in that lifestyle, and you're gonna see them if you go down there. If you work down there, like you get legitimate work per se, you're gonna see people. Right, it's just gonna happen. You're just gonna see people. You see them, if they're not just a regular performer, like Jimi Hendrix used to play down in the Village. But I never I never heard anything about him,
right,
like that.
And see, okay, the Village had a different feel to it. The Village was a place where if you took a girl down, and you meet women down there too, a lot of straight women, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. If you were securing yourself and you go down, it wasn't like you're now crossing into the Village. You know what I mean? It wasn't like some boundary, but the Village had its boundary, but it was a bit beyond it. But they would all flock down at that time because it was a different time. Nobody messed with anybody down there. But when they left and went to different parts of the city, they got a little more bass in their voice. You see what I mean? Now all over the city they could be that way. But it was a nice place if you could look past that didn't annoy you. If you're like phobic, and I hate to say the word homophobic, why am I scared of some homo? Just because you do what you do. I'm not gonna punch you if you try to get me. I'm gonna run because if I punch you, you might break my skin. You might have HIV. Now I got that bad boy. Now I got to kick you to death. YouTube might delete the video because I said that. But yeah, you're gonna defend yourself, right? But I used to train at a gym down there. I had several memberships because I competed and I represented their establishments in different competitions. So you coming up out of there, they were all in there. They're all over the place, but they were just kind of scared to say anything. They might look, but they're not saying nothing to me. They just knew that, and they know, that's the thing, and they won't bother you. They just don't bother you. It's like when you lock eyes with a dog that looks vicious, and you're not scared of him, and you're thinking violent thoughts. When you think the violent thoughts to defend yourself, they can pick up on that. If you try to look tough, and you say, oh my God, I hope he doesn't come over here and bite me, well, guess what you just manifested? You're going to lose one of your balls or your foot or whatever, right? So if you think to yourself, that dog come over here, I'm going to kick his nose off, I don't care, he can pick up on that. You can pick up on the scared dude who's walking through the hood and he's scared to death. I remember I put it out there on TikTok. I was like, yeah, I was walking through this area called Circle. That's supposed to be this rough area in a Kragata that nobody goes to at night. I was skedaddling. I just felt like taking a chocho and walking around at night and seeing what it's like. I'm adventurous in the same way I was in New York City. And I'm walking around in a circle. I knew there was dudes there hustling. I knew there were dudes there who would look to rip somebody off. I wasn't scared. unless you had a knife or a gun. I ain't gonna fight that. I ain't trying to get cut. But the bottom
Right.
line is, I'm not a tough guy, but I'm not gonna walk around in fear. Oh my God, they might do something to me. You got 2 hands and 2 arms just like me. I'm scared of you. I got killer instinct. I mean, I'm not killer gonna kill somebody. I'm not saying I'm a killer. That's a term in boxing. That do you have the ability to finish the opponent off? I'm not scared to knock anybody out. If you want it, try to attack me. Maybe you might get me, or maybe I'll get you. But I'm gonna get you. So why walk around like this? I'm not. I'm enjoying life, especially at this phase of life that I'm in now. You know what I mean? People greeted me. Hey, what's going on, man? Oh, brother, you're from New York, right? I said, yeah, I'm from New York. Yeah. I could tell by the accent, whatever. They weren't sizing me up. They looked at me like I was one of them. Because I have that spirit when I go outside. I don't twist up my face and tough because that's fake. But the same way I walk down the street where the church is letting out is the same way I walk. People just know I'm not to be messed with. And again, I'm not saying that I'm trying to be a tough guy. I'll protect you. I won't let nothing happen to you. If you come at me, I'm going to get you. And I'll do it. I'm one of them guys that, yeah, I know he'll do it. So I don't have to walk around. I'll tell jokes and laugh. But it's like that dude who's laughing all the time. The day he's not laughing, watch out. Watch out. Because he's going to do something to somebody.
Well, it's just like being in the Philippines. I try to treat everybody there, people I come in contact with mutual respect. There are some places I don't go. Like I never was really a guy into. Well, when I was a teenager, I went to nightclubs and stuff my teens, but I might have been, maybe in my whole lifetime, I might have been to, maybe I could count the number of times I went to a strip club on one hand, because I never was really into that. I was never really into throwing money at a woman. I mean, I don't mean to be vulgar, but why would I throw money at a woman? I'd rather have her in my bed than throw money at her. I just never got off into that. I just couldn't get into it. Yeah.
Well, it's a power and control trip too, A lot of guys who just can't, they use the money and they feel in power. Like, okay, you're going to do something for me. I'm throwing money at you. Yeah, I'm at the club. And it's really to show off in front of other men who can make it rain more. Like you got $50 that you're going to have singles and throw 50 singles at them. But you got hundreds. They make sure the dudes see that. The girl jumping, they come at you, you're throwing hundreds. We got to go by him. Because you need to have some kind of control. Those are the guys who are the most insecure. Because the times I've been in strip joints and taken around strippers, it's because I was making money. They wanted me to drive them in my van. I took them, waited for them, went out of state with them. They paid me well. But I'm not trying to sniff up under them like that. I'm trying to make money too. You know what I mean? So I was never weak that way. I was in control of myself. If I was weak, it's because I allowed myself and said, okay, this is the time to be weak and enjoy yourself. But I didn't just get affected like, oh, damn, girl, what's up? I'll pay you. No. I couldn't even hang with guys like that.
Yeah, I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't. I mean, like, I've seen women with very shapely and luxurious bodies, but I couldn't get into it because I'm like, why would I sit here and look at her when I would rather have her in my bed?
Right.
That's more fun than just sitting there looking, waiting for something to happen.
As far as I was concerned, you'd have a better chance having Mr. Spock sitting up in the strip club throwing money at you than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me hit I'm going to take a leak one more time. Keep talking. Give me 90 seconds. Because I'm over here drinking water. I'm going to be up all night.
Yeah. So when people talk about these passport bros, going back to them, like I said, most of these passport bros are, to me, this is just me, they are a bunch of degenerates, and I would never get involved with something called men going their own way, because I just think that's just a gateway to homosexuality. But in terms of the passport bros, no. Most of the guys who are going overseas, they're going over there to do the same thing they did in the States, which is womanize. They just were lucky to get them a passport, and they may have kind of got an idea of what the terrain is like. You know, they scouted everything out to say, okay, I'll go over there. I'm gonna be over there for about a month. I'm gonna stay at the Airbnb. I'm gonna need about this amount of money, and I'm gonna go do that. They might hook up with somebody else who's on YouTube, who's over there in the place, in the spot, and they say, okay, I'll go to this part of the Philippines. I'll be there for about a month. And this is what they do. This is what they do. They just go in there to womanize. You know, me personally, like I said, I grew up. I had girlfriends. You know, I was involved with women in terms of like these little one night stands and stuff. But my thing was to get married. That was my whole thing. My whole thing was to find somebody to the court to get married, because that was the end result. And I'm if somebody wanted me to say, hey man, how could I go about finding somebody in the Philippines to marry? If that's what they wanted, I can help them do that, or say, at least say, these are the steps I think you should take. But if they're just going over there to womanize and get women pregnant so that the state can take care of it, I'm like, well, you might want to get somebody else to help you with that.
Right.
You know, because the most thing, yeah, because my thing is, I would tell guys, if you're going over there to find a wife or to marry somebody, then I would say, okay, these are the steps that you should take. First of all, don't rush into anything. Don't go on no dating sites. I think that's the worst thing to do, like Tinder, because there's a certain expectation on the dating site. If you want to get to know somebody, talk to somebody who's already there, who knows somebody. Right. Just like a woman here, she said, well, you know, just like women here in the States, they say, well, I can't find nobody. I can't. Well, do you have any? Do you got any sisters? Do you got any cousins? Do you have any family members who may know somebody? Yeah, somebody who can introduce you to somebody. Yeah, there's more of an accountability. But you going online just to meet somebody on Tinder and all these other social media, you're literally rolling the dice. You're literally rolling the dice.
But look at the meaning of the word Tinder. Dry, flammable material such as wood or paper used for lighting a fire. Yeah. So you're gonna get in trouble, get lit up. Chances are, because people can make themselves be something they're not.
True.
95% of these people are out here. It may not be 95%, but there's some motivation. I'm watching it out here. There's women I know out here on social media trying to accrue the attention of men in an innocent acting way, but they're trying to get men to manipulate, to get money out of them, to get things out of them. That's all. They're like bottom feeders with that mentality. They have them out here, and they'll get you good.
But see, Lance, here's the thing. We remember, men give, women receive. That's true. But the problem is under the conditions that the giving and receiving is being done. Like somebody finessing the game, so to speak. You know, like I do, brother. Men are the maintainers of women. So you can't have a woman and you're under the same roof with you and you're not maintaining her. You're not maintaining her financially. You're not maintaining her emotionally. You're not maintaining her psychologically. You're not maintaining her emotionally. So you know that there's some part that you have to play in her upkeep as a woman, as a human being, and you are the she's your dependent. You are her codependent. Because this is a relationship, okay? But I would tell guys, my first number one rule in dealing with women from overseas, do not send them money. Because women in certain countries, they know how to finesse the game. And most of the time they get these men through their ego. Oh, I saw your picture up there. Oh, you're so handsome. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I bet a lot of girls want to meet you. And see, they're just playing on the man's ego. Because in other words, she'll do that for about a week, maybe 2 weeks tops. Then after 2 weeks, she'll say something like this. I would like to talk to you more, but I can't. I don't have a load on my phone. Because over there, they don't have like telecommunications like AT&T. Yeah, they'll do that. But see, here's the key. If she couldn't text you if she didn't have a load. You see how that works? She says, well, I need an X amount of money could you send me $20? And they'll start something small, $20, $50, so I can have a load. Now think about if she
Mm-hmm.
got 10 guys and she's running this game.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
10 guys. Now, and I say, wait a minute. How can you couldn't text me if you didn't have a load? So but if you don't, if a guy doesn't know that, he can be
Right.
played. Because I'd be
But
like,
see,
wait a minute,
there are women
I
who,
know how it works in the Philippines. You got to go pay for the load so they can put the load on your card. But you couldn't text me if you didn't have a load.
exactly. But you got women out here who you know on a decent level. Like I know women out here just as platonic or whatever have you, and they'll come with that. Oh, you know, I have malaria and I'm really sick. And so I'm like, this happened to me the other week. Me and Miss Scurv though. I said, well, you need to get to the hospital quick.
Yeah. Right.
You know, because hospitals out here cheap. Oh, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. And she's out there at a party the next night on TikTok. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna die. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I had one. This was like back in the 90s before like Facebook and all this stuff. And it was one of the times, like you go on there, like it was kind of like Tinder, but it wasn't as, it was just you had a profile photo. You might have maybe one or two, and that was about it. It wasn't a lot of information about the person,
Right.
like not like it is today, like a little bit more detailed. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember this girl, I saw her profile, right? So I said, okay, she looks fairly attractive. And she was in the area that I had visited in the Philippines before. So I said, I start texting her and everything. So she knows, she's saying she saw my profile, whatever. She's all, give me compliments and all that. I said, okay, thank you. You know, I'm like, oh,
Right.
thank you, like that, So mama po. So then it wasn't 2 weeks until I was texting her. And then she came out and said, oh, I was in the hospital. My leg, I hurt my leg, my ankle or shin or something like that. I can't walk. I need some money to pay for my medical bills.
Mm-mm.
So I responded back. I said, well, I'm sorry to hear about your challenges, but I said, I can't send you any money because I never met you.
Right.
Now it could be a guy using somebody else's picture.
Yes. Yes.
Trying to finesse the game. So I said,
Yes.
we just met. I said, we don't even know. I responded, I said, we don't even know each other. And why would I send
There you
money
go.
to somebody
Good
I
answer.
never met?
Right.
Did you
They
believe
know
I
the
never heard
scams out
from
here.
I never heard from him again?
Bingo.
I never heard from him again.
There you go.
And
There you
I
go.
said, yeah, that was a scam. That was a scam. I said, yeah, that was a scam. And I said, think about if you got a woman and a female and she does 10 men like that, ask for $100 each. Let's say only half give up the money. That's $500.
But that's what they're doing on TikTok now, shaking their behind.
Yeah.
And these guys zone out because they focus on them. There's something about them because chemistry. It happens from women to men, men to women. But there's just something about this person that you just like. Well, it's amplified on TikTok. These chicks are putting out videos every day. It's not like they're shaking their behind on everything, but they're showing you the warmth and men are, she could be somebody nice I can get with. Plus she's sexy and this and that. And they slide up in the DMs and they start talking to them. And like you said, you get 10 men with that. You talk to all of them and hit them with a little small something. That's an income, especially out here.
But you got to remember, Lance, most of these guys don't have experience with women.
That's true. That's true.
They don't have experience with women because any experienced man would say, first, like again, normally these females start out with some kind of compliment that strokes the guy's ego, and he's probably not used to women telling him that, and then she comes behind it with her request or whatever. But the man's got to say, well, hold on, I just met you. We never met. And that's why I tell guys, never send money to women that you never met.
That's right.
And this is the mistake because women, I don't like to use the word incel, but you have a lot of guys, I can tell by communicating with you, you had a father in your life. on how you
Wow.
carry yourself.
Should,
And that
should
father
be.
gives you a certain degree of confidence as a man.
Yes. Yes.
We have a whole generation of young men, mostly on the age of 35, that didn't have fathers in their lives. And
That's right.
they don't have somebody to say, son, you don't no, that she's not for you. My son, he was dating this girl,
Mm-hmm.
and it's amazing what you learn through time. He was telling me like he started dating this girl. She's a couple of years older than him. And at first everything was going nice, and then suddenly she would start saying stuff like little sly stuff like that, right? And I said to
Wow.
myself, I said, son, if a girl really likes you, she's not gonna be saying stuff like that. She's not gonna say, well, I don't need a man, and I don't this and I don't that. Because I said it seems like something is going on here, but I couldn't really pinpoint what it was. So he got tired of the way she was acting. So I told him to break up with her. His mom was like, "Oh no, don't break up with her. You know, just let them figure." I said, "No, son, she's not for you. Break up with her.
Right. Right.
Just let her go, because something is going on here that is not right."
You picked up on it. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but I said, "No, you need to let her go, man. She's not for you."
That
So
keeps
they end up
going on. Something, something,
the
something,
just
something,
ain't
just say.
Come so Lance, he breaks up with her, right?
Right.
So now he's dating somebody else, and he's a lot happier. But I found
Great.
out the girl was a lesbian. She went both
See
ways.
that? Mm-hmm.
So she was torn between the phallic and the vagina.
Right. 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 The
And-
staff and the
and-
orifice.
Right, and that part of her, that personality of her that wanted the vagina was starting to come out. Yeah,
Right.
it was starting to come out of her, and that's what it was. So I
Wow.
said, everything makes sense now. I said,
Right.
it all makes sense why she was acting the way she was. Because I said, why is she with you but telling you she don't need a man and all the and one of the girls, and she was involved with a girl that she worked with. And the girl, she kept talking about the girl was saying about she wanted to hang out with her. But see what has happened, the girl that she was involved with has gotten tired of her. Because she was too clingy. She was too clingy. So they end up, from what I've heard, they end up breaking up. Because the girl my son was dating, the other girl said she was too clingy. And I'm like, you learn from experience. But the thing about it is, by him having a father in his life, I could tell him, I said, son, that girl's not for you.
That's right. That's right.
I said, she's just not for you, man.
There's that resentment too, because it's almost like me telling you that you can go to an all-you-can-eat restaurant, but you're going to only have one plate. You can't get enough food on that plate. Piled up. You walking back to your table, stuff falling down like the Eiffel Tower. So you're frustrated. So I'm not saying all women who there's something off. I'm not being judgmental, because I've dealt with women like that, and me being crazy, I turned it around. Well, I like it too. Call her over. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's what no of us would have been like. How does she look? We'd have been like, does she look? How does she look? So, hey, why don't you have a come over here? Tell her, come on over.
Yeah, I did that for 8 years. I know that.
You would tighten up both of them.
Yep. Oh, you got another friend too? Bring her over.
Yeah.
I felt like it was the Barrel of Monkeys. Remember the Barrel of Monkeys? All the monkeys, you can hook one.
I remember Donkey Kong.
No, but in that world, I learned so much about the undercurrents of what goes on between women, and I can see it now. Oh, you got a big lesbian population out here in Ghana, but it's real undercover, and it ain't them political lesbians. It's the ones who had experiences young, and that's their alternative, because in their mind they formulated, well, I want to remain a virgin, and I don't want to have sex with a man before marriage, but her licking me, I'm still a virgin. But you going up a different road, different energy, So what? You go to the beach, you go to Labadi Beach, at night. The beaches at night down here, they got
Mm-hmm.
restaurants and they never
Oh wow.
close. You can go out there and
Wow.
sit out there until the sun comes up, and it never
Mm-hmm.
closes. And you see all different types of people coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, and you see them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's dark in certain parts when you go near the water, but it's light when you come back to where the restaurants are, and you see them
Mm-hmm.
kissing up and all this stuff. You don't see no
Mm-hmm.
dudes out there like that, even though you got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
dudes on the beach out there, and they got
Mm-hmm.
men looking to come pick them up. It's all a lot of that going on out there. I'm gonna bring my camera
Yeah.
and sit there in one spot late one night, and we'll go out there and just put the camera in one spot. I'm gonna let you see it. Trust me.
Is it so, Lance? Are you saying these girls are just experimenting at a young age, and they just
Well,
that experimentation, they just it becomes
see,
part of them?
yeah, that's one part of it. But remember, any place in the world that has a very suppressed society, it doesn't have to be promiscuous and open and everything open like in America. But the more suppressed it is, the more explosive the activity that's going on behind closed doors. When everything's free and open, it's like, it's no big thing, no pressure, whatever. But you have some place where there's religion and the politics and everything's rigid. And you go into church and
And
you
and
better
and
be a
and
good
and and
girl and
and
you have
and,
to do this.
and flesh
Mhm.
flesh is sinful. Oh,
Sinful, exactly.
sinful flesh.
Well, you
Man,
know how
man,
many times,
they have messed these people's minds up, brother. These people's
exactly.
minds have been obliterated.
You know how
Oh,
many times I've seen walking down the street and you have an unfinished building, an unfinished structure. Anybody can walk
mm-hmm,
up in there and just, squat or whatever. But you have
mm-hmm,
people that, like these young guys, they don't have no money.
mm-hmm,
Hey, girl, let's
mm-hmm,
go to the hotel. For what? Meet me over there by that unfinished building at nighttime and go. Look, the last apartment I had two, but the last one was 2 years, the other one was 1 year. And we were next to a structure that was being built, but it was off and on. And so the window right there in the living room part, you stand there and you can kind of see that because it was close. And you see
mm-hmm,
people walking in there, and they might not go to the room that you could see, but
mm-hmm,
you see them go there, bent over, lean up on the wall, and pat, 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 pat. I took out garbage one night
mm-hmm.
in the very apartment building I was in, and these two, I heard the clapping. I said, "What the hell? It's not the radio. It's my listen to church. What is this?"
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, look, let me tell you something. Even an atheist, if it's a potential accident in the car or a real good
Mm-hmm,
orgasm, he's gonna say, "Oh God!" Well, they were back there doing it, and I'm taking
mm-hmm,
the garbage out. They both looking at me dead in the eye. They both were up on, when it get good, you get up on your toes. So homeboy was like on his toes. He could have
mm-hmm,
been bit by a million mosquitoes. He wasn't going to feel it until he stopped. And they both were looking
mm-hmm.
at me. And I'm like, oh, I felt embarrassed. They were just looking at me like, what you looking at? And from the waist up and from the waist, nothing was moving but down with the hips
They both
with
looked at you and
precision.
like they both looked at you and said at once, "Want to dance?"
They were too far gone to stop, for real. I mean, it was almost like, and they were actually finishing because I turned around and the dude was like a dog who jumped off he was doing it, but he jumped off at the moment, the peak moment. Dude was walking around, humping air. Like, I'm like, oh man, this is funny.
The invisible woman. Flesh is sinful. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, bro. They have obliterated these people's minds. I'm telling you, bro. They have tore these people's minds up.
Well, speaking of that, we got a comment for you. Let me
Mm-hmm.
go over here and put it up on the screen. And the comment is from Raisa. I'm
Mm-hmm.
checking the name up because another 10, 15 minutes, I'm gonna wrap it down. I'm slurring. I
Yeah.
got
Oh yeah.
Parkinson's or
Yeah.
something. They said,
Uh-huh.
ask a guest if he is for the LGBTQ community. I have heard him infer there is something wrong with transformers and gays. Right? So you try to start some trouble tonight. Go ahead and answer that, brother.
My thing is, I'm not in support of that community, but I know that people, at the end of the day, you can't regulate people's behaviors because people make choices, and that people will choose to do what they want to do, whether it be good or bad or whatever the results. bring. So no, I don't support the community. I don't have no rainbow flag outside of my house. But I understand at the end of the day, people are going to do whatever they get down is going to be their get down. Ain't nothing I can do about that.
Well, let me answer that too. I don't hate anybody, but whatever you do behind closed doors, because these things been going on for a long time. The bottom line is the government has chosen to use these people to weaponize them against the family.
That's true.
That is not pro-family.
That's right.
That's proactive abortions.
It's
You understand?
it's an attack. It's an attack on decency.
Exactly. All of this stuff. It's a spiritual thing too. Because really and truly, like I do know people who are gay. I do know gay men who are very nice people. Wouldn't do nothing wrong, wouldn't molest no kids or nothing like that. But that's far and few between. There's a lot of trauma in that world. And all of us have gone through stuff. But there's a lot of trauma and there's something off in the energy. Look, not because they're doing the friction with the same sex, that act alone, I'm not just going to say like it's an abomination, but there is definitely something reverse current with this thing. That kind of energy is off. And when you're bold with it and you want to politicize this thing and put it out there and have corporations want you, I think it's a soccer player, a Muslim, and it was just sent to me today that they suspended him for I think 4 games because he put tape over the mandatory LGBTQ flag that was on his uniform, and he covered it up, and they were mad. What is that all about? Because really and truly, if you ask most gays, they are biased against the other parts of the alphabet. LGBTQ, the transformers, the transsexuals, whatever. They don't get no love from gay men or gay women, really and truly. They lump it all in one thing, put a rainbow on it, and we supposed to, no, man, there was a video I was looking at from this bouncer. And he's an older guy now, but he was speaking about his days as a bouncer, and he was told that they didn't want any straight people in there, and they didn't want any curious bisexual men in there. And he was like, "How am I supposed to know?" You know what I mean? And then they were like saying, "Don't stop the drugs from coming in. If they want to come in here and get high." Look, club owners were saying that. They don't want no women. They don't want this, and there's a separation in that community. But we think, and it's not. Look, it's not even a community. What is it really? I mean, community because you commit an act.
I think it's a religion, not religion in the sense of monotheism, like Christianity, Judaism, Islam. It's like Confucianism. It's based around people's beliefs and ideas, but there is no centralized deity or God or creator that they worship.
Exactly.
It's
you know how much racism is in that world?
Their religion is based on their bedroom activity, because we're talking about, when we say gay and lesbian, we're talking about things that people do. You have to have qualifications. You see, you got to have something. You know, if a man says he's gay, and then you say, well, how many men have you ever slept with? He said, none. How many gay nightclubs have you been to? Like none.
I know dudes like that.
How many this sex acts have you done with a man? You ever done? None. Well, then how can you be gay if you never participated in a lifestyle that makes you that qualifies you as being gay? So
I'm an astronaut, but I never went to space yet.
Right. I'm a brain surgeon, but I never went to medical school. Well, then you have to have a qualifier. So to me, it all is a bedroom activity that has become a lifestyle, and because there are people involved in this lifestyle, the lifestyle in and of itself has become a religion.
Okay, let me read off the other comments in response to what you said. She said, "That's exactly how I feel about black men who sleep with strange women. Dirty dick is dirty dick. If your guest in mixed, if your guest in mixed, I don't know what I mean. I would have a problem with him sleeping with non-black women. Okay, maybe even if your guest wasn't mixed or something. So the next one is, it's a free world. You can be as perverted and abnormal as you want, as long as you are willing to be judged. I'm out of here. It's my Sabbath. Thanks for letting me join you. All right, we're going to read the rest of them. And I'm going to comment on some of them things. It's a free world. You can be, okay, it's the same. Okay, it's the same comment. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's like 3 of them somehow she shot off. But this one here, I'm not going to talk behind her back because she left me, but she's still here. But if you're listening, Raisha, you got something going on. There's something going on. There's a fly in the yogurt somewhere. I'm not putting you down. I'm always joking. But like she said, that's exactly how I feel about black men who sleep with strange women, dirty dickers, dirty dick. Something happened to her. She's angry or something. You know? Seriously. And I mean that. I mean, I'm not saying it in a vindictive way or like I'm some psychoanalyst, whatever, but there's something going on there with her. From the beginning of the show all the way up.
Brother Lance, she seems to be very judgmental. Yeah.
Yeah. And this other comment, it's a free world. You can be a perverted and as abnormal as you want. Who told her that? And I mean, in the bedroom between a man and a woman, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting nobody. If you both like it. Like, look, I'm not trying to push religion, but the marriage bed is undefiled. There would be no AIDS spreading around. There wouldn't be no soul ties to keep us mixed up. When you look at it, in those of us who have sampled many orifices, what's the difference? It's the energy in the person. Because I've sampled a lot. And sometimes you feel weird afterward. Like the body felt good, but what's this energy on me? I'm drowsy for the next 3 days. It wasn't that thing was that powerful. But sometimes you feel inspired if it's a good spirit. Sometimes you get angry and you feel confused. You sit at the stop sign waiting for the stop sign to change before you move. It ain't a green light. But that thing was on you and it was more. It's a spiritual thing. Seriously. You know, but yeah, you know.
Maybe for her it's projection.
You never know when somebody comes on and you know, they can talk freely behind a keyboard. I'm not saying she's fake, but we don't know all of the components because if she was to share everything with her, so we have to get algebraic with it and figure out what is in there that we can't see by everything around it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Because if she could have came on, at least if we could have heard her voice, heard her speak, we could pick up on her idiosyncrasies and vibrations, and we could say, okay, well, sister, not to judge anybody. We're not here to judge anyone by no means of that. We're just trying to understand where you're coming from. And if we could ask questions, then maybe that would help us get a little bit closer to the truth and the heart of the matter. But because we can't do that, we didn't do it. You know, it's I don't know. Maybe sometimes people dealing with stuff, Lance, like you talk about trauma and PTSD. Maybe people are dealing with stuff from their own childhood.
That's where it comes from. I really believe that. You can always trace it back to childhood. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is.
I can't go for that.
No, can do.
You know, when I first heard that song, I thought it was brothers singing that song, and I saw who it was. I'm like, damn.
It's Hall & Oates, right?
Right. Because when I first heard it, I was like, when I first just heard the song, I heard the song before I knew who sang it. And when I first heard that song, I was like, I thought it was brothers singing that. And I saw who was singing. I'm like, damn, that's a nice little cut.
It's a nice song, like but really and truly, my take on it is that it's a dude singing to a girl. They in the bed doing foreplay, and she tried to give him a prostrate check exam, and he's like, I can't go for that. No, can't do.
Well, I think both of them two dudes were kind of they had some challenges.
You know, I met them, but it wasn't really a meeting. I was in the village waiting for a light to change on Altita Street. It had to be 6th or 7th Street, if there is one, because some of those
Mm-hmm.
streets skip. I looked to the side. I was like, Hall and Oates. I said it. And they looked, waved their hand, but they got out of there quick. You know what I mean? But they were right there. And you know
Mm-hmm.
they're at odds with each other. They're suing each other. They split up as a group and going
Mm-hmm.
through legalities and everything and smearing each other's character. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That made some
Yeah.
songs. They made some good songs. But
Yeah.
brother, I'm gonna wrap it
Private
down, man.
eyes watching.
Yep.
Yeah. They had some good.
One
They
on
had some good
one,
cuts,
I'm
man.
gonna play my game tonight.
Yeah. They had
That
some
was a
cuts,
March
man.
80. That's a March 1983 song. That's when I saw Hillary Clinton getting it in that club. That song was in my head.
Billery.
Yeah, no, not only
Billery.
Billery, but Fillery. Fill her up.
Fillery.
Yeah.
Damn foolery. All right, brother Lance.
She
Hey,
had
brother,
every
thank you for the
man's
time and the
foolery.
patience, brother. Every man's foolery.
Don't get me
Just
started.
damn foolery. All right, brother Lance. You take care of yourself, brother. I'll be tuning in for the next
Yeah,
one.
man. And I hate to end these because I'm 4 hours ahead of the East Coast. And
Yeah.
for me, what time is it now? I don't have to get up early, but I'm gonna sleep until I wake up. And the
I
brothers
heard
are
that.
here. They wake up and they start doing their work. And I got to do a couple of things to set them up so when they wake up, they don't have to wake me up. But I'm enjoying this. I enjoy the conversations with you. And you know,
Thank you, brother.
when I get the studio finished together, I'll start a little
Mm-hmm.
earlier so we can go on longer because it's a flow. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, and I love the way that you're analytical and you break things down, and it's very entertaining. And we're gonna keep going with this. I'm gonna do this every day.
Well, I thank you, brother, and I'd like to hear from brother Politico.
I talked to him the other day, and I ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie. He'll get on and he'll be talking. Hey, brother, so and so, you know, if Joe Biden, and he'll start saying certain things. I'm like, yo, come on, man, let's record this. No, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I got somebody waiting for me. Or whatever. And he'll go. So I told him, I said, listen, you keep doing this. I'm gonna just record you, and then I'm gonna ask for
Right.
permission to put it up. Or if
Right.
I'll chop certain parts out if it's too personal, because I don't do that to anybody. But he says some
Right.
good stuff off of being recorded so much. And I'm like, damn, that was good. You got to say this again. But if you say something that has an effect, sometimes you can't replicate it. So that's why I like to catch
True.
him just off the cuff
True.
because he's a funny guy. He breaks
Well,
things down in his own unique way.
he pissed a lot of women off when he talked about having that woman on the other side of town.
Yeah,
The one when he talked about the female and like having the I don't like to use the word side chick, but you know what I mean.
right.
He pissed off. I saw the comments on that, man. They were furious.
Yeah, and there
I
was another
can't
show,
believe.
and they were mad at me for him being on. They
Yeah.
unsubscribed from me. I'm like, listen, when we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
somebody on, let them talk. If you don't like them, learn how they think because there's other people out there like them. This is not that
Well,
serious. If a person
well,
was going
see,
to open up, let them open up.
Well, see, I think what happened really, Lance, he hit on something. You know how
Yep.
people like to beat around the bush with things and act like and play
Mhm.
around, like they trying to finesse the game, but they say,
Yeah.
it might take me a week or a few days. In other words, what I took away from what he said was, hey, let's get down to the business. You want money, I want sex. So let's
Right.
cut all this middle stuff and all this left stuff and right stuff and up below and down under. Let's get that out the way and let's deal with the situation at hand. And I think because he came so straight and so forward with it like that, some people got offended. Because the way they
really,
used to, yeah, because they used
if
to
he
finesse
came
in the
like a
game.
snake, and if he came sneaky like a snake, would they like it? I mean, like
Probably more so. They probably more so.
Like I tell people,
they would be, yeah.
I tell
But
women
since-
sometimes the guy who tells you what he wants, he's your best friend because he's not going to waste your time. You're not going to end up in a relationship for 5 years and find out that the man you thought he was, he's not. At least that guy will save you time.
Right.
He's not going to lie to you. He'll tell you, hey, girl, I want to get with you. I got somebody, but damn, I need to have you tonight. What kind of woman you think I am? You know what I mean? Then some other dude waves a lot of money and they go with the guy. So it's like, it's flexible.
Yeah, because I know people don't like to hear this stuff. Like, hey, baby, they spend the night together, then she wake up and the money is on the nightstand and on the envelope, and they don't. People don't like because it cuts really to the heart. There's no playing around. There's no trying to finesse the game. And that's what I took from what he said. He said, "Hey, let's just get down to the heart of the matter. This is what you
Right.
want, and this is what I want, and let's stop beating around the bush about getting it, and just go ahead and just get it."
Hey, do
And I
your
think
thing.
that's what they got offended.
Wow.
Well, tell me some lies first before you give it to me. And I think that's why people get offended by stuff like that, because they're not used to,
Right. That's a Mike Tyson line too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Lie to me and tell me you love me. Lie to me. He's giving money to the women. He said, yeah. We don't have to fake this thing, but just, I want to hear it. Just tell me you love me. Even if you have to lie, just lie. I was like, wow.
It's three things. You never ask for love. You never ask for an apology. And you never ask for, what's the other one? The third one escapes me. But it's love, apology, and it's one more thing. But it's sad when you got to get people to act around you just so you can feel secure in who you are as a human being.
That's terrible. Layers of deception.
Oh man. It is.
Deception.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, Brother Lance.
Wow. Yeah, man.
That's something we can talk. That's something we can talk about next. Maybe a new one coming up. Layers of deception. There's a title right there.
I'm gonna start working on the battle when I wake up.
Yeah. Layers of deception.
We're gonna do that. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'll wake up. I'll meditate on that, and we'll do that. And we'll free flow with it, just like that.
There you go.
That's a great one. All right, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And let me check over my Instagram side if it's still rolling, because sometimes it'll cut off. I don't know if it's still, the chat room's not moving, but I don't know. But anyway, we're over there too. We're on several other places and everything. But yeah, it's been good. We're making classics. These are classic conversations. I'll remind you, because they will grow. See, the only reason why I'm not getting more hits like I did on the other channel is because I'm a new channel and the algorithm didn't see me yet. I'm like that dude outside the club waiting for the bouncer to let me in. But when you know me, you let me in. So now they don't know me. I'm a different channel. So for just have to be steady, let it build up, and then it will explode over time. You know what I mean? But I'm enjoying myself. Go ahead. Are
you going to do those late night chats and stuff like you used to about the after dark and all stuff like that? Yeah, because those sisters, I used to, I like hearing from the women, because sometimes you need to hear from them, because you need to know certain things on how they feel.
Right. No, we're going to build that back up again. Oh yeah, we're going to do that and see what I'm going to do to accommodate late night over in America and beyond, going back, because I'm 4 hours ahead. It'll be even easier when it's 5 hours between the East Coast and Accra. Is that I get up early anyway. These last few days I haven't, because the guys are here working, and I'm just here, so my time is off. But I usually wake up around 4 or 5 o'clock, right? So if I wake up at 5 o'clock and there's a 5 hour difference in time, that means it's midnight in New York City and over on the East Coast. So I'll wake up and do a show. It'll truly be late night, because as the show goes on, I'm gonna run everybody down, because I'm gonna stay on that bad boy. I'll eat breakfast. I'll be sitting there, and they'll be like, "Oh man, I've been there for 5-6 hours. I'm getting tired." I'm like, "I'm wide awake now. The sun's up." You know what I mean? So that's how you have to do it. I'm gonna do it that way. Once everything down there is finished and I have everything set and decorated right and placed right, and man, I can't wait. And they down there right now, ready to wake up in a little while and start working.
Well, I just want to tell the listeners, say, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, thank you so much.
I'll end with that. All right, Brother Lance, take care of yourself, brother.
Okay, Bose. All right, definitely. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do this again. All right. Okay.
Yes, sir, brother. Peace.
Much love.
Peace.
Okay, peace.